welcome to Skottie Talk with Tyler and Dustin. I'm
Hello, hello.
Dustin. Tonight I'll be Dustin W, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Tyler Literacy. What's going on, Tyler?
Nothing much. What is going on with yourself, Dustin?
Uh,
We're having a fun night so far.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to be able to see the comments and the screen at the same time, and I am failing miserably.
We've
Like I
had
can see.
some
Oh
technical
crap!
difficulties. That was my first time launching the stream, and I was like waiting for something to go wrong. And then I don't know if
Nah,
you
nah.
noticed, I was like, oh, I forgot I left the presentation on like the middle of the slides, and thankfully you can like change that in the bottom corner. And I was like, all right, oof, I saved that. So
You're. It's all good. We got Shane on with us, and a few other ones have popped in so
yeah,
far. So,
new merch. I think this
oh,
is
that's
one.
right.
No, I guess it's not one. It's one of two that we know of. So
That's right. Rarity.
yeah,
It's I think we need to. it's,
yeah,
I was trying to make you shoot something out your nose. That was my goal, and I
exactly.
failed.
It's not permanently on yet. It's just painter's tape for now. But so I'm hoping this doesn't fall, because then we might get into some difficulties with a certain brand name companies. So
That's right. Right now, it's from the what's that say? What's it say on it? Dippets, Dippets Friff Sim. So that's our
yep,
new sponsor right there. We're
if it's
we're like the
fresh.
bizarre. Yeah, we're the
That's
bizarro
them.
version of Super Fresh. So
Yeah, yeah. The mirror universe. There we go.
that's right. I can't make you little, Tyler. I've tried.
I was like,
I've
I'm
tried.
still big on here. What's
Yes.
happening?
Yeah, I was
Um,
trying my darndest,
there
but
we go.
yeah, I'm on my phone tonight in case everybody's wondering why the quality's a little bit better. So, so I'm having to try to flip flop from my computer back and forth to my phone, and it's going swimmingly so far. Hey, Brian, I just want to say, hey, shout out to Brian here. He's going to
Yeah,
see Dogma with Kevin Smith, hosted by Kevin Smith. So
yeah. I was bummed. Yeah, we didn't. I was gonna comment in there. We didn't have showings, unfortunately, around us at any of the. Well, I guess any of the AMC's. Again, I'm an AMC mainly person, so but that's because I do the monthly stuff. So Relit, Relit. Funny enough, I actually was going to use that as a Star Wars name at one point. I thought of that same thing. I was like, oh, I could do my name backwards. Relit. That sounds kind of
I
Star
like it.
Warsy. So
I like
yeah,
it. Oh man,
swimmingly.
there we go.
Good to see
Mike
everybody in
Becker's
here.
here. Welcome, welcome. All right. We won't dilly dally tonight. I think we have around 75 slides to get through.
Woo.
Uh, just had stuff just kept on getting added and added. Thankfully, it was a busy week, so that's good. The Chicago show sold out in less than an hour, no doubt at
Not
all.
surprised, no surprise.
And you know it's a
Hello,
good night when
Marine.
Marine can join us early. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully, Scott's in the attendance with her. So I'm always going to give credit
Exactly.
to Scott. Scott was an MVP that night when Marine joined us on the show.
He was
So
great. They both were.
yeah, um, I'm using my mouse to try to move the cursor on my phone, and it's not working for some reason. So
Oh, in the car.
all right. Well, hey, don't look, just listen. Could you imagine watching the show and just having to listen to mine and your voices? Wouldn't that be
I wouldn't
painstakingly
do it in the
awful?
car because I
Yeah,
personally would fall asleep. So
yeah. I mean, without having the images of Scotty's art on here to keep people awake, I
very
mean,
true. Yeah, it's like a picture book, an audio book, but with some visuals to go along with it. So
yeah, it's like taking an upper and a downer at the same time and trying to make it. So good luck, folks.
it can work. Hello, Ryan. Other
I'll
Ryans.
just
We got
listen.
multiple Ryans.
All right. Yeah,
Very
all the
good.
Ryans. Hey, and if anybody's in the Skottie Young Appreciation Group, I saw that Ryan is just starting a sales post, so make sure to
Mm.
check out some books that he had. I know he's a big time seller, big time collector. And whenever I say big time seller, I mean he's got good books out there. So make sure and check him out and see what
Yeah,
he's
not a
got.
first time caller, that's for sure. So
No, it probably won't be a last time. All right. Do you want to flip the screen? Do you want to flip the slides tonight? Because
yes, I
my
was gonna
mouse
give it
isn't
kind of a
working.
little intro because I feel like there needs to be a disclaimer. I guess I should have made a banner for this. But these are our opinions. We're gonna go over our
Oh,
5.
hold on 1 second. Hold on. So we got 2 slides before that.
Oh, 2
And then
slides. You want to do that and do that
yeah,
first?
let's
We
do
can
that. And then
you can make my banner while we're doing that.
yeah, let's do this because before we get started, and I know what you're, I know what you're about to say. I didn't want to interrupt your spiel, then having to go off to this and have to say it
No,
again.
no, yeah, totally.
So before. Oh man, Keith made it 2 times in a row. Welcome, welcome, bud. Glad to have you on here. Howdy, howdy. Um, I don't know why I have to say hello twice. It was like I forget which character it was. They had to say it something 3 times, and I feel that's the way I am with my hello, hello. But anyway, for a moment of silence, last week we had something very tragic happen on our group.
Yes. Yep.
It started the day before in a newsletter by Skottie when he was reminiscing about the Fantastic Four, and we made a faux pas. Is that the proper way to say it? Faux pas,
Yeah. Yeah.
perhaps. But anyway, from this moment on, we will no longer say this phrase on the show. R.I.P. Laffy Lit. Hold on a second.
Pour one out. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, you lived much longer than you needed to.
Yeah.
Some things are born to die, and you are one of them. So we
Yeah.
apologize.
No, but
To
I'll still be saying it. I'll fully be embracing it. That'll be the first thing I say to Skottie when I see him at Heroes Con. When I'll be buying the Human Torch trade paperback, which we'll mention later on, I'll be getting Skottie to sign that. Hopefully, he'll sign it Laffy Lit. Who knows?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
No, not at all.
I think
I think I'll be turned away. I mean, I think I'm going to be turned away from the line anyways. There's for a multitude of reasons, none of which, yeah. So
you'll see the backhanded slap, and you'll see like the mouse ears flowing through the air, and then like rolling on the floor of the convention hall. And
I think like they're gonna start implementing like the wall of shame, like, and it'll only be my picture on there. Maybe Seth's. Who knows? Yeah, a ghost sick. Yeah.
You go to convenience stores and it says, "Do not service this people," or "Do not take checks from these people." Well, your picture will be up in the background.
I'll go to like other booths and they're like, "Oh, you're that person." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's am I not allowed to shop here?" And they're like, "No, we don't want your business." So
you'll have like,
and I'll be like, completely understandable. Yeah,
I'm very moving tonight. I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay. I usually have a lag. I don't have a lag on my phone, so watch out, folks.
It's like the Flash. He's exactly
unrestricted. Yeah, I pulled a muscle in my back, so let's not do that too much more. So anywho, all right.
Now, take a T-shirt and take a picture. That's pretty good. I like that one.
Why, Shane? Why are you trying to get my boy kicked out of Heroes on the first day? This is. Yeah. Well, me and Tyler both have larger heads, so any head is too tight on our head. So
thankfully, this is just an elastic. So this one's a little bit more easygoing. So
yeah, I think after the show tonight, Tyler, this slide right here will be our new group image, like the profile, the group image for the Skottie Young Appreciation Group, just to let people know that this is the word that shall not be said.
I like that. Yeah, maybe that could be one of the things. I'll do a presentation where we hide it, and then you have to count it, a Laffy Lit counter, and then that'll be one of the giveaways. So
yep, or we could just do the meme of good gosh, the comedian. Like I got to be careful what I say. Never mind. I'm gonna skip this because I don't want to get us booted for violence off of YouTube. So anyway. There's a really funny image right here in my mind. You all will never know it. All right.
No.
You want to go ahead and do your
we're just living on the outside.
Yes, sir.
But this was the disclaimer, which I've made the disclaimer for now. So what you're about to see for this list represents our opinions, and it's perfectly fine if you think they're wrong. I'm sure without a doubt, at least one person, Seth, not naming any names, Seth, will probably have heavy comments on our list. But these were fun, honestly. It was interesting giving mine and then seeing where you came off. And there was a lot of overlap. Again, this is a very tough thing, especially for my friends who know me. Like, I watch a lot of TV. I literally use a tracking app to track all the TV shows that I watch, just because at any given time I'm juggling probably 10 TV shows, maybe. So these are just for reference. This is my current. So these are all the ones I was in the middle of. Mainly the ones at the top are the ones that I'm currently watching. But
Good Lord.
yeah,
Nielsen's ain't got nothing on you, man.
I know. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of TV shows. There's still a lot I haven't seen, especially for a lot of the list. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Tyler's opinion's wrong regardless. Exactly.
You're gonna feel really bad later, Britton. You're gonna
Yeah,
feel really bad.
it's gonna be a slap in the face later on here in about
Yeah.
30. I don't know.
Foreshadowing alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, in about 2 hours, you're gonna feel like crap. So
You're gonna feel like a dork.
yeah.
But no, it's so it's always interesting to see opinions. And funny enough, like I even looked at list. I don't know why. Like I needed the vindication of like the things that I chose and like, is this how other people feel? And
Yep.
trying to compile. But there are a lot of variables, and I brought up one that you brought up, or that about rewatchability being a big one. I do probably need to make a spreadsheet. I could make a spreadsheet. That'd be a wild spreadsheet. I'm kind of tempted to do that now, but that'd be a really big undertaking. If I could get like an app that could like plug in the shows that I watch, that would be great. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there before we get started.
Hey, let's bring it. All right, this is the most exciting show we will have because we are very passionate about TV shows, so we'll be very animated.
Yeah, and it's still related to Skottie for the most part, because a lot of these have sketches, some don't. We'll see which do and don't, and maybe that sparks some interest in future sketches. Fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see. So, but without further ado, let's start with my number one. Oh, and there you go. There it is. We called it. So what was that time? We called time 8:12.
12 minutes. Yeah.
8:12, 35 seconds.
It was bound to happen. Let's get it out of
I
the way.
wouldn't have it any other way.
Potato string budget that we have here. So, all right. And Ray joins, right?
Ray in the chat. Hello, Ray.
All right. So Tyler's number. And before you start talking about this one, because I know you're very passionate, is I will say I was a gentleman. I let Tyler do his picks first.
Yes.
And we did not do duplicate picks. And 4 of the 5 would have been ones I would have strongly considered, including this one, which if you haven't seen Breaking Bad or anybody that criticized the Fly episode last week, that was wrong.
Yes, which kickstarted this whole
so
presentation. So
like Tyler said, these are our opinions, but that was a wrong opinion of all the people that said that last week. So okay, there you go. That's all I had to say.
No, yeah, it's good. Yeah, again, it's surprising too, because this is a more recent sketch from Skottie, and it is one of the few that I truly regret not being able to get. I know Sony in the group has this. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. I found out somewhat recently who has it. Yeah, it's a great show. It's high up for most people. Again, it's funny because I remember starting this show on MySpace when they let you watch like the first 2 episodes for free. And I did, and then I was like, "Wow, the show's amazing." And following it the entire time was wild. But yeah, it's a great sketch. It sums up part of the reason why the show is so great is the dynamic between Jesse and Walt. And also is just such an interesting premise. Chemistry teacher unfortunately gets cancer, and then and needs treatment, and treatment costs a lot. And turning to a life of crime, which at the beginning is so so silly and jokey because again it's all new to him and stuff, and seeing where it starts and where it ends. And I won't say anything, even though it's been out for years. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ride is wild. But the great thing to me and what makes this number one for me is not only is the ride wild, but the landing is so well executed. It was really the only way I feel like it could have ended. And that for me is why this takes number one. I've never seen a show execute its idea and premise and story as well as Breaking Bad, in my personal opinion, over the many seasons that it had, without, in my opinion, losing any of its interest. There was no lull. There were no, maybe there was, dips kind of within episodes and stuff, but not the normal lull I would equate with the show that's going down in terms of quality. Overall, the quality stayed consistently high with the show. Yeah, I mean, again, it's it's where I truly felt wasn't much of
Excuse me.
Malcolm in the Middle. Unfortunately, I just didn't catch much of it. I remember watching like some episodes and stuff. But this was my true first experience with of course I'm Bryan Cranston. Oof, almost lost it there.
Yeah, that's
and that's where I fell in love with them. And same with Aaron Paul. Aaron Paul is great as well, and it's been really fun to watch the both of them. I did unfortunately miss meeting them when they were touring with their brand of alcohol, their tequila. Excuse me, their tequila brand. I think they showed up at like Disney or something, and I was like, wow, I could have met these two, and I didn't. So that made me upset. So there, we're already coming out of the weeds with opinion.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't watched Weeds. So again, that's going to be some of the interesting stuff is what I haven't seen versus some other, because I know like I can go ahead and roll off Suits or Mad Men or Sopranos or a few of the other shows that I saw consistently pop up for people's number ones. And generally, I just don't. And honestly, even Breaking Bad is honestly not a show that would generally pull me. It's not a show I would immediately jump on the train. Like I said, I equate my love of it is to MySpace, thankfully, and getting to try it out there, and then going, wow, this is a really great show. I'm interested in this now. So that's why those other shows I've wanted to watch, I just haven't. They're not my general area of interest, which is why I've kind of held off. But I will eventually get to them. They're definitely on my list for sure. So.
Okay, cool. Did you like the edit? I mean, our show is predominantly made for children, so I had to edit the image just slightly with Skottie faces. So hopefully,
I did. Yeah, I did like that. I noticed that, and I thought it was funny. The choice of Scottie's face over the word.
And I will say for Breaking Bad, it is a top 5 perennial favorites of a lot of people, and it is one that, while there's no lulls after you get kicked into it, I think season 1 was very deceptive because it was of what it was going to eventually become. Because season 1, he's still trying his best to do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, okay.
I was wondering if we we're gonna put that one up.
I didn't read it. That's why you read it. But but then after, because we actually stopped watching it after season 1, and I went back during season 2 to finish it, and it was like, good gosh, we were hooked on it after that.
It's
I'm
heavy,
sitting here scratching like,
It's one of the and kind of going back to one of the things I brought up, the rewatchability. This is a show that I've only have watched like the once through in terms, because I would have gone back and rewatched seasons in preparation for new ones, but I've never gone back and fully watched the show through from beginning to end.
But it's another one that lives on in TikTok clips and like
and this is one I don't generally dress up, and it's just because I have a weird thing where like I don't like dressing up unless like I can kind of visually fill the role.
I missed the opportunity of
I know. I just thought about that too. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can grab a picture here. But I actually dressed as Heisenberg and shaved my head in college. Like I went the full 9 yards because I was like, look, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And had my red goatee because that's at the time that's all I could legit grow, which I think was part of the reason why I was like, oh, I could do this because I have a good goatee. I don't have a good beard, but I have a good goatee. And even had a friend who took professional photos of me that came out like awesome. Like there were some photos I was like, wow, I actually like pretty spot on look, like an old weird guy who sells, a certain something. So
something. Yeah, I could not believe it was Tyler in those images too, because it was like, hey Tyler, you want to do a show? And then I started looking at his pictures and I saw that one. And I thought,
it's like, wait a minute, what is
I've made a huge mistake here. But no, he really embodied the look of Walter White.
So thankfully I have an album. So here, let me see if I can quickly.
Well, here I will babble on about the next show, and then while you look, give you a second
Well,
to.
well, I have it here. I just didn't. I
Oh,
didn't
you
want to
got it?
like if you didn't want it. I just wanted to quickly just so then
No,
we can
no,
move
please do. I
on
thought it'd
and
take
go
you
to
long.
the.
Oh, no, no, no. This is worth the wait. I thought you was gonna take you a second to find it, but
It
no,
has
if you got it,
yeah no like I said. Thankfully, I've made an
awesome.
album of it.
I wanted to make
It
sure you
shows
had time to
comments.
find it.
I don't think there's any bad comments, so I'm gonna share. But in case I need to stop, but so
That's great.
so I'll give off a warning or that's just candy in the bag. This is actually a bucket my brother gave me, a
I'll
Los
get it
Pollos
right here.
Hermanos bucket that had candied, the certain thing in the show. But all this
Yeah,
was pretty much a Goodwill find. But there it is. There's me with my shaved head. Um, and I say I had a good goatee.
I
I
love
didn't
it.
have
That's
I didn't
great.
have a good goatee. I don't know why I said I had a good goatee. I would now. I definitely didn't then.
That's awesome. That is great.
Yeah, but like that one was with the sunglasses. It was pretty good. Yeah, it's so funny. Looking back at these, and I did it again too. I did it at MegaCon. I did it once, and then I think this was the time I did it for MegaCon. And then I did it again for work. We had a Halloween contest and I shaved my head. And my boss was like, I think I got like high up, but he was like, you don't win just because you shaved your head. And I was like, I thought that was, pretty good shaving my head. But
Oh, Britain.
yeah, so yeah, good. Yeah, he hates goatees. That's a personal uh note for him. But yeah, no, that she
Uh,
did a great job. The lighting was really great, and it was really fun getting to take those photos.
yeah, I did. The fact that you were kind of flipping through them real fast made it look like stop motion animation.
It
So
was, yeah, because they're just taken
yeah,
and you just
so
got to keep moving and kind of thinking of a pose and like I said, a few in there that I was really proud of. That I was like, wow, that's really cool the way you captured
no, those are great.
the
Those are
outfit.
really good.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I really misremembered the facial hair there, but that's totally fine. That's
Yeah,
understandable. So
nothing like factual evidence to make you like,
I know
let's erase
I
that
was
part.
like,
So
oh, never mind. Those are whiskers.
no,
I will
it
say
it looks
though,
spot on.
full disclosure, because it's not on the list. I have still yet to watch Better Call Saul, and I kick myself every day for not having watched it. But I was like, I don't think it's going to be as good as Breaking Bad, and I held off, and then it just became too long, and everyone said everything I've read has said it's just as good, if not better, than Breaking Bad. So I will be getting to that eventually because I feel like a poser without having watched it. So
I have to go back to Ryan's comments real quick, and I will play devil's advocate with this. I will say that Breaking Bad fulfilled its original premise because that was the whole point of the show, was to go from some that anybody could legitimately break bad. That sounds stupid, but anybody could go from that point. I mean, let's look at us. When Skottie's art sales comes up, how many of us are this close to pulling a Walter White and trying to earn a second income? So
yeah,
it could happen to any of us at any time, but probably not.
yeah. No, for
Anyway,
sure. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, you could, go into a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that was again, that was what interested me was, and I think for a lot of people, like you said, there's a stark difference between, season one and the later season. It kind of went from like 0 to 100, real quick after that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'd be curious, going if I watched Weeds or something like that to see, how I feel, in hindsight, kind of a deal, having watched Breaking Bad first. But yeah,
Good choice. If that's a number one, I think that's a consensus number one. I would be
yeah.
right there with you just from
And I do
acting.
appreciate that you did that. I appreciate you let me go first. And then like you said, it's kind of like we share, a lot of these shows. You and I have very similar tastes. So
Yep, and we're right. You say I keep on saying you said that these were just our opinions, but some of these are hard to argue against. So I will. You can say that, and I will defend it. You can be
yeah,
good cop. I'll be bad cop today.
exactly.
Anyway, all right. My number one. I don't think anybody's gonna be surprised about this. Ted Lasso. It's really good. All right, next one. No, no, it's yeah. Ted Lasso came at the right time, and without getting political, the way that Ted Lasso was originally written, as told by Sudeikis, was that it was going to be a more stereotypical American overseas, a blowhard, somebody that's a little bit more arrogant, obnoxious, and
Have
with the
you
political,
not to cut in because I want to
yeah,
let you speak. Have you seen the original videos skits that he did
yes,
that were
yeah, it was. I can't. It was done for like NBC or NBC Sports or something like
they
that.
were commercials,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it was more. And you see some of it in episode one. That's kind of in line with that video, but
Yeah.
with the political scene that happened and all the diversity, the division that we had in our country, they took it in a different direction. We had someone that was upbeat and positive, no matter the situation. And I am so glad they did because for coming out of COVID, this show was perfect. If you didn't watch it and laugh and cry, then I don't know what to tell you. It's one of the best shows I've seen, and I'm kind of excited about the new episode, new season 4 coming out, and also very nervous because as we get towards the end of this list, you'll see there's some shows that, as I said, didn't stick the landing, as I told Tyler.
Yeah.
And I see all 3 seasons, whether season 2 had its downfalls and Nate's storyline that some people were upset about, and the Beard episode that was an add-on episode that is very polarizing. It's still to me one of the most perfect beginning and ending shows out there. So that's all I got.
No, it's like you said, it's one, I loved, and that was what was so fresh about it, was the positivity. And funny enough, my dad had started it first and he was only like a few episodes in. Um and yeah, totally on the other end of the spectrum. It wasn't on my top 5. It would have been I think and not rewatchability because I rewatched that show a lot. It was just tough because I mean there's so many shows like that would fit into there's so many that would tie for like first, second, third, fourth, fifth kind of a deal.
Yeah,
And this would
I
definitely
agree.
be up
I
there
agree.
for me as well. And like you said, because of the positivity, there's not many shows I watch where like it's just it's so funny and fun to watch, but also like it's not like it's uplifting and everything.
Well, there's a scene in episode 9, I think 8 or 9 of season 1, where Rebecca finally confesses to Ted, everything that she's done to him. And in most shows, you would have the hero of the show hear that, get upset for an episode, then find something that brings them back together to, some redemptive arc. But the fact that he forgave her, like on the drop of a hat, was just awesome and just
He
unexpected.
Yeah, he became a goldfish is what he did.
Yeah, great, great line.
But yeah, he there's and I love all like the merch stuff too. Like I'm not a big like sports person, but like I've wanted to own like a full tracksuit of of their team and all that kind of stuff. But no, it was such a great
Oh
show,
yeah.
and I watched it with my dad, and I was like in tears that first episode. I was just like, wow, I love this show. Holy cow, like that. I was not expecting it to hit me in the feels. And those are some of my favorite comedies, are the ones where you're laughing one
Laughing and
minute and
cry.
then you're crying the next minute. Like that to me is top tier comedy because it's more than
Yeah.
just the comedy, it's the characters. And we can kind of get into a little bit of that with some of the later picks from myself and Dustin as well. But
Yeah,
this
we're
was my
softies.
first.
We are definitely
Yeah.
softies. Me and Tyler both
Oh
cry.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah. So
cry pretty much in everything that I watch. Like my wife and sister-in-law will tell you. Like, and it's a weird thing because it's like again, I just get so immersed into the characters and the things they're going through, which is why I
yeah.
like literally try to put myself in that situation, and then I'm like, wow, if that would have affected me, like this. But yeah, it was funny because I remember asking Skottie, it was like one of his lives, like what he thought about season 2, and he was like, "Oh, it was okay." Like it kind of went down a little, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, I kind of thought the opposite. I thought
Yeah.
it went up, but again, everybody's got their opinions, and like you said, it's so interesting with comedies. And each of the ones we have listed, start out so different from where they end. Because again, comedy's such a
Yeah.
tough thing. Every show goes through it, trying to capture what they're about. But comedies, I feel like it's really prevalent because you can tell
I agree.
their influences are on their sleeve. It's like, oh, this was, trying to be this, or this pulled from this. So like you said, you can still see some of that, brashness in the beginning, but then they realize, no, this is really, where we need to go.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring Ryan's comment back up here because I know I forget to say it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. The ending had so much that was just perfectly booking the very first episode. And one of my favorite moments, this is just a little thing, something silly. I don't know what offsides is in soccer, but whenever Ted calls it at the end, where
Yeah.
they're all upset, and then he calls, he's like offside.
They're yeah,
That
I love that. Like they're
I love that
obliviousness. They're
line.
like what? He's like, yeah, it's offsides. And they're
Yeah,
like he caught it, like he knew it.
yeah. So I thought that was the perfect
I
uh, ending
Yeah,
for his.
and that's such a big thing about that whole show is, not only did he teach them, but they taught him as well. And that's what I really loved again is everybody learned a lesson and again it was always for the better, like you said. Even when things got, as bad as they did with certain characters, it genuinely, always pretty much came back in a good way. So
Yes, sir. Maybe we should do a top two list. This is, I forget how much we like to talk about our TV shows.
I know,
This is,
yeah. No,
I'll,
it's
I'll,
we do love talking, especially about our TV shows. So
all right, and you can explain why this one's off.
yeah, this one, and honestly, I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, and I guess it's actually a good comparison and that you have here. But the reason why Scotty drew Deku in My Hero Academia is because they were ideas given to him by his kids. Because they were in the middle of watching them and stuff. They would have been they are, too young to have watched Avatar when it first aired. So if they had grown up back then, maybe they would have, had him drawing Avatar characters for sure. And I would absolutely love to see Scotty's take on the Avatar universe. But it's also a good image because I also love My Hero Academia. That anime is one of my favorites, and I'd love to track. I've tried tracking down this original art piece. I have the One Piece that he drew. I wouldn't mind the Inosuke from Demon Slayer, but that's getting an anime. That's getting another stuff. Getting back to Avatar, this was such a big animated series for me because again, I think the word cartoon has connotations to it. Unfortunately, where adults say cartoon and they think that it's just a child show and there's nothing good enough for them to watch, or it's just going to be silly and dumb and nothing to it. But this is in my opinion one of the greatest animated television series I've watched. Again, mainly because it had such a well written and decided story and set of characters from the get-go, and just small things of like doing 4 seasons. It represented the 4 books, which is the 4 elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. And for those who didn't watch it, again, it has its childish moments for sure. It was the first one I watched. It was very heavily influenced by Western anime. And it was just different. The animation style was different than what you saw on Nickelodeon. And I've actually been starting to listen to. They have a podcast with Dante Bosco, who voiced Zuko in the original series, and then I'm gonna feel terrible because I'm forgetting her name, but who voiced Korra
You're
in
good.
the Legend of Avatar or Legend of Korra series. But yeah, it had real heart. Again, the characters and the way they progressed, especially Zuko, again, to kind of get the opposite of Breaking Bad, where you get somebody who's been raised in such a horrible manner because their father is terrible and abused them and the stuff they went through, and to come full circle and find themselves and in the end help them. Yeah, Captain Planet, that would have been that's a good show. Get some Captain Planet respect on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this show is one I go back and rewatch constantly. I love this series. And again, being able to watch this is one of the ones I remember watching on excuse me, TV, and like, catching up with it and watching the end and with commercials and everything. Again, it's just a different experience than shows you get now. But yeah, like I said, it's just there's so much to it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Last Airbender, yeah, not the one with the blue people.
Now,
Yeah,
I was actually
aka
I was looking for avatars to put in here just so
I guess, yeah,
for
you should
James
have,
Cameron,
I
and
could have put,
Scotty didn't have those either. So
yeah.
now the dude that who was it? Keith? Yeah, Keith said Captain Planet, and we're the Planeteers. You can be
No,
one
I said,
too.
yeah, I
So
was gonna
yeah,
say,
so like, that's going
I
my
kept them planning. I get that in
that's all
there.
that's going through my head now. The theme song of it. So,
They've got the reboot of that coming out at
yeah, but
some point, I
you
believe.
can't. Don Cheadle's Captain Planet from Funny or
Oh
Die is
my
probably
goodness, that was hilarious. That was like the
yeah,
funniest, yeah, one of the funniest skits.
dark
Yeah, in
comedy.
terms of like taking it, yeah, like again, like that
Yeah.
extreme of like Ted Lasso and Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this is for me, and I think this is the only animated show I have on my list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Simpsons was one that I started to put on my list,
Mm,
and but there were a lot of shows that were like The Simpsons, Twilight Zone, just ones that didn't make the list that like popped in that were like all time classics. But the from actual storyline, Twilight Zone I think could have been on any list that we do, just from the
yeah,
episode. So
no, for
yeah,
sure. And again, the interesting thing, about these lists are that, they transcend, generations. So it's again what I grew up with versus somebody who's, 5, 10 years older or 5, 10 years younger.
I did
I
not
did
know
not
that.
know that Mike Foley, I love the Boulder. I didn't know that Mike Foley voiced them. I didn't know that, they're a parody on The Rock, which, yeah, his character in the show is hilarious. We
Well, it's
recently got
oh
to
sorry.
watch the live in concert. They just did it for the 20th anniversary of this show, going around and doing the live concert. So we got to do that, and everybody in the crowd was super into it. And when the Boulder came on screen, everybody loved that. So yeah, or
Well,
yeah, Sparky Boom Boom.
wow, y'all are in a different. Uh, right before our show came on tonight, I saw this little clip on Instagram about a picture of Mick Foley and Kevin James. I didn't. It was like they wrestled together in high school, and
Mm,
Kevin James was number one until he suffered an injury, and then Mick Foley became the number one wrestler at the high school.
that's
Now,
wild.
now you know. All
Yeah.
right, and all this Mister Boom
Mm.
Boom Man. What the heck?
That's fair. Yeah, Boondocks is a great one too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for everybody that's watching too, if you want to throw your favorite picks in the comments
Yeah.
just to see how they stack up against our correct picks, well, I mean, we're all for it. So just anytime you
Yeah.
want to do that. All right.
Yep, sorry, let me.
Yeah, and obviously this is Woody from from Toy Story.
That's totally a character on Firefly.
Yeah, so let's just pretend this is Captain Malcolm Reynolds. But yeah, for a show that only had almost single digit number of episodes, I can't remember if it was 10 to 13 episodes, and Fox mishandled it every chance they could get. They aired the pilot episode out of order because they were worried nobody would want to watch it. They like
14.
14 episodes. Yeah,
Yep.
they threw the last few up whenever it was in a dead zone of their schedule. So, but then thankfully Serenity came out, the movie that kind of wrapped it up. There's been comics that have come out since then, but
Yeah, tons. And they're
what?
still going to the
Oh
comics. It's
gosh, yeah.
wild how many they've made.
Oh yeah, and it's one of the things that Tyler said whenever we were compiling this list that really stuck with me was rewatchability, and that's kind of what I was keeping in mind as I came up with my five. And there's episodes of Out of Gas, the episode of Firefly, where they kind of tell how he collected all the members of the crew as he's like struggling
That's a
and
really good one.
dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great episode, and I've rewatched it many times. The Miss Reynolds, I can't remember the full name of it, but that was another good one that was on there. But there's just so many great episodes of Firefly and they all can be watched individually.
Yeah.
And I don't look at it as a failed first season. I looked at it as 14 short mini movies and then one extended movie and a life that lives on in comics. So, uh,
No, yeah, it's like, and like you said, it's funny. I don't know if you saw, or I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw, but I loved I don't know if wasn't a commercial, it was like something live they did, but where Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion both were like making fun of Fox and doing they were like like
yeah.
Alan Tudyk was writing it on the whiteboard, and then he was like writing out like bad word Fox on there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
Nathan had to stop, like whoa, like we can't
Yeah.
write that. But no, it was funny because I was telling you off air, but when I first watched this, I wasn't really into it at all. I don't really know what it was. I was like, I don't know, this just isn't clicking with me. And then thankfully I watched it again, and then I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I love this show. Like, it was funny because as soon
It's
as
so
you
good.
sent me, or I saw the image, I immediately had to like listen to the theme song because I love its
Yeah.
theme song so much. It's so good and catchy.
You can't take the sky from me.
You can't. It's just such a great show, and I think that was my first introduction to Nathan Fillion, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that it was either that or Castle.
Did you watch Doctor Horrible sing along blog?
Yes. Oh no, that I guess that would have been my first Nathan
Just
Fillion. Yeah, that one is hilarious and great as well. So
yeah. So if I had to pick a show that was canceled and finished with a movie, it's Deadwood. I actually thought about including that in my list, but
mm,
I've not rewatched it. It was so good as we were watching it live. Justified is another one I thought about including, but I
yeah,
did not. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
the
the
bowl
bowl
cut.
cutter.
That
Yeah.
was
So,
hilarious. Yeah, to see.
but if you all want to, I mean, Joss Whedon has some dark stuff. I mean, unfortunately, I read what happened to Wash before I watched the movie,
Oh,
and that
really?
yes, yes, yes. Was it like a feather in the wind or whatever his Alan
Leaf on
Tudyk's
the wind. Yeah,
leaf on the wind. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I hate that scene. I try to block it out. But
yeah,
if you want to really be depressed, go to like Firefly's Wikipedia page and read some of the future storylines that Joss Whedon had planned out for future seasons. And one of the storylines that involves Enora is pretty dark. And I was like, man, I'm kind of glad that one didn't make it. So uh,
yeah,
we won't talk. We're not here about to depress people. So
yeah.
we'll move on
But no,
to the
if you
next one.
if you just want to watch a fun, great, quick watch, then yeah, I definitely highly recommend Firefly. So
Yes, sir.
I don't think anybody's shocked to see this on the list. If
What?
anybody
Yeah,
is,
that's
yeah, if
right.
anybody's shocked, then
Yeah,
I'd be
we're
surprised. I mean, again, look at the amount of sketches that are there. This
yeah.
has
That's
the
not even
most.
all of it. I think there's
Yeah,
more. I think there's
yeah,
more that I left out. So,
yeah. Isn't that bottom right one yours or no? Was I
well,
mistaken?
the bottom right one and the top right one are mine.
That was it. Yeah, but you commissioned the bottom right one, right?
I commissioned the bottom right
Yeah,
one. The top left one I love. I love that
yeah.
one. Yeah, that one's so great.
Um, yeah. I mean, this is definitely one. I mean, the biggest thing, right off the bat is again the ending. Most people would agree the Game of Thrones didn't stick the landing, which again is always tough when
Yeah,
you're writing or you're
when you're
adapting
outpacing your
something while
yeah.
in the midst of still writing it. The perfect example for me is again another anime, but Full Metal Alchemist was a manga that was ongoing, and they did the TV series Full Metal Alchemist and reached a point where they
Oh,
caught up to the end and just kind of went their own direction. And then when the manga had finished, they went back and redid the show as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And they're totally different. They're two completely different watches. And I have no doubt that Game of Thrones would be the same way if it were to be redone today. Um, which I don't think it should. Again, barring the
no, no,
ending,
that's
which
good.
I wish would have been different. As I told Dustin, this for me was I've never had an experience with a TV show like I have Game of Thrones. I kind of equate it to Lost, which I never unfortunately got into. Where again the community revolving around the show is just so fun to be a part of. My favorite was when the final
Yeah.
season aired. Back when we lived in Minnesota at a previous company, I printed out these sheets I found where you would have to guess, what was going to happen or who was going to die, who would live, that kind of stuff. And we gave points
Well,
for
that's fun.
each episode after it aired. And everybody, and I taped them on the wall, and everybody the day after the episode aired after Sunday would come in, look at the wall, be like, oh, I got it right. Or like, did I have that down? Like, oh, I didn't have that down. Like I should have had that down. That's so blatantly clear. And then we, announced the king of Game of Thrones, the winner, if you will. Uh,
So bad, so bad.
but again, it's just such
Yeah,
amazing characters, such fantastic set
I
dressing,
would say
such an
I would
interesting
say four
story.
more.
Yeah, yeah, two to four more, and again, there's it's interesting because again, HBO wanted it. The two producers or whatever, they didn't. They were clearly wanting to go on to different projects, which didn't pan
Yep.
out for them. Which again is kind of karma, and that's how at least I look at it.
Yep.
Um,
Well,
but
the first few seasons, you had full seasons where it took people to get from point A to point B,
yeah,
and then the last
it
season,
was like,
it was like 5 minutes later
yeah,
they've traveled across Westeros, and you're like, well, how the heck did you get
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I still think some people would, even with, extensions, would still be mad at the way certain characters ended and stuff. But
yes, yeah,
again, I some of that stuff, I think was set up, again, it's kind of going back to the Breaking Bad, where there were comments, that it kind of went off of where it started. But again, just the way certain things were in certain characters. And again, there's certain things that I'm upset about of like, oh, there was this big build up to this part, but then it was just this, like, kind of a deal. But again, I for some people it's easier to erase the rest of what we got with Game of Thrones because of the ending, but I can't do that with this show because again, like there's just
it's
never been a TV show like it in terms of like, just the grip it had on audiences watching this show. Um I'm really
yeah.
glad and funny enough too that you have uh uh the not the mountain
Oh, which is the Hound.
the Hound. I want to say
Yeah,
the wolf, and I was like, that's not right. It's not the wolf. The Hound. I'm really glad he's taking over for Balin in the Ahsoka series.
right. Okay, yeah.
Really sad that actor passed away, but they've already shown pictures of and I feel terrible. I'm blanking on the actor who plays the Hound, but
Rory,
Yeah, Rory, yeah,
I can't think of his last. It's mixed. My mind's went blank, but yeah, I know who you're.
yeah. But and I've started to try and read the books. I really need to get back to them. I know they're not finished. They're really dense, and it was very much like the show, which for me is a weird because I
No,
really like
now Becker's. Yeah,
reading.
Ray's the one that passed away. He's the one that was in Rome and a
Yeah,
few other shows that passed away. But yeah, Ray is that is correct for him. But yeah, Rory is the
Rory
Hound actor.
McCain. That's it. Rory
McCann. I know it's a
McCain
Roy Mick. I couldn't
or
think of the
McCann. I
last
think
one.
it's McCann. Rory McCann.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the last part. I just saw the Mick in my head. That's all I could get.
Yeah,
But yeah, now Ray. Now I'm trying to think of the other dude's name. Now this is bugging because I think he was like the Punisher in one of the movies too.
Ray
That really
Stevenson.
Ray Steve. Yeah, shoot,
I forgot. Yeah, he was Punisher in the 2008 Warzone movie.
like
Wow,
the
it's been
really
a long.
bloody
I
one.
watched it I think like once, but I totally forgot that he was. I'll have
Yeah.
to go back and rewatch that now.
Well, before we move on to anything else, I want to say this is crazy. The fact that Game of Thrones not only killed a fandom for a lot of people. I mean, the Daenerys that I
Yeah,
commissioned down there from Skottie, I think I was up to like 60 or 70 different Daenerys is like commissions that I've gotten from different artists. And I was so upset with how the season ended that I've
yeah,
gotten rid of most of them. I didn't get rid of the Scotty one, obviously,
yeah.
but I was just so upset with that. Not only did it like kill the fire for a lot of fans, it also made I think George R. R. Martin. I don't think he'll ever finish the books now because
It,
he.
it
I
is.
I think
It's
it scared him
yeah. It's
pretty
an
bad.
interesting. It's an interesting impact. What it's had on, like you said, the fandom. It's such a big example of how not to do something. How, like you said, it can impact. And it's still impacting because they have the Game of Thrones, House of Dragons on now. But it's not nearly as big, as Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it. It would probably last the whole episode trying to think of one name,
Yeah.
but it'd be entertaining. Um,
But
which
no, it's a good point because it did the same with my partner, or Alexis. She loved Daenerys and was so upset and so annoyed with how her storyline ended, and I totally get that. I think the reason why is because I didn't have quite a fixation on any one character. And I knew I was like, I just know people are gonna die. Like I was like, I can't be attached to anybody.
yeah,
That's what I've heard about, his writing, that he likes doing that. So I was like, I'm just here for the story. But that's where, it kind of got me was like certain storylines. I think Ryan had kind of brought it up, just a lot of threads that just felt like they didn't really go anywhere,
yeah,
unfortunately,
didn't pan
or
out.
just the payoff just wasn't good enough.
Well, I was really rooting for the cousins, or not cousins, but I guess they were siblings, to get together of Jon Snow and Daenerys.
Oh
That just
yes.
that
Yeah, the
just never.
cousins. Yeah.
Were they cousins or were they like half?
It's
I'm trying
like
to think.
I think it was cousins. I think it was cousins.
Okay, I couldn't. I thought, yeah, maybe it was cousins. Whatever they were. It's the first time I've ever rooted for something like that to happen. But the way it ended was just Oh,
I know that's it. They're not cousins. Daenerys is his aunt.
and that's wow.
That's it. Yeah.
This is good TV here.
I mean, and so
I
that's
forget.
my thing. And I was, glad to have you on, Keith. Thanks so much for popping in
Oh
as
yeah, Keith.
when you
Yeah,
could.
take it easy, man. Thank you.
Um, that's my issue is I run through so much media, whether it's games, TV, movies, books, comics, that like again I can only store so much at any given time. So I give myself
Yeah.
slack. It's why IMDb. I try to be my best, and I know a lot about actors and names and stuff like that. But yeah,
Hmm.
it can be tough, yeah, to remember all the details and everything, which is
Yeah.
fun. It makes it more fun to go back and rewatch it. So
Not me. I'll be laying in bed tonight mad at myself that I forgot that fact. So
you're
that's
the
a
you're
lot
the
harder on
opposite.
myself. Yep. All right. We'll go into a more Ron Swanson. If you don't like Ron Swanson, then something's wrong with you. Parks and
We're
Rec.
ending the stream. Yeah, you're done. You're out of here.
Yeah, we don't want you here. Yeah, no, we do. We want you here. We're nice to everybody. But Parks and Rec, another show that I was hard on at first. I wasn't as excited about it,
For
and
good reason.
it took a season or so to get them to warm up and to the characters. And
Yeah.
me and Tyler have talked about this off camera before, but really, whenever Adam Scott and Rob Lowe's characters came on, I think it kicked it in. And then of course Chris Pratt, his first season character was just so horrible. I mean, it was such a horrible human being. And then thankfully they let him, be the character that he ultimately become. And
Yeah.
just, so, I think season one was the weak link. And if you watch
Oh,
beyond that,
100%.
yeah, if you could make it
Yeah,
beyond
yeah.
that, you're in good shape.
Again, it's my example of a show where, again, it's like the never judge a book by its cover. If you were to just base your opinion of Parks and Rec off its first season, you would unfortunately be underselling it so much, because I'm 100% in agreement. Again, it's one where you can see it wore its influence on its sleeve of The Office. And once they got past that first
Yes.
season and found what they wanted to be and became that, it got so
Yeah.
much better. And what set it apart from everything else, because again, I love The Office, as one maybe see foreshadowing. But there is not as much heart, in my opinion, as there was in Parks and Rec. Again, I care more personally for the character and storylines of characters in Parks and Rec, because we get to watch them grow.
Yeah.
Whereas you do with, and I'm not saying The Office you don't, but I just connected more to that in Parks and Rec. I got more of a warm feeling, whereas Office for me was just more laughs and funny shenanigans and stuff. So
And Becker's 100% correct here. After Mark left, I felt out of the characters that stuck around, his character was the one that felt the most forced. It felt like it was they were trying to write a stereotypical love story there for Leslie Nopes, and I think after Mark left, they kind of found their footing and let her be who she needed to be before they
yeah.
introduced
Which is
her
funny.
new love
I do
interest.
like Mark. Like, he's one of like the few things I liked about season one. Funny
Oh
enough.
really?
Yeah.
Oh that's
I went back
we're
and
different.
restarted it, but I stopped because my Alexis, she wants to watch. So I was like, all right, I'll stop it and we can
Yeah,
rewatch it together. But he's I don't know, he's like likably annoying, I guess. So
yeah. Trying to read the comments here. I don't watch much network TV. Last thing I watched was Carmichael Show and Fresh Off the Boat. I watched Fresh Off the Boat. I meant to watch Carmichael Show and I never got around to it, but
same with Fresh Off the Boat. I've heard great things about it, and it's
very
again,
good show.
I say it a lot. It's on my list. If we're doing the Dustin thing of like things we say too much, it's on my list of something I say
It's on my
constantly.
list.
So it's
Yep.
on my list. Like it just keeps growing. There's nothing I can do. So
And Becker's got a really hot take here. Leslie Nopes is better than Michael Scott simply because she made everyone around her better. So
yeah.
if we're talking about the person, yes. The character, oof, that's Mike. Is that is that number four? Can we segue into that,
Uh no,
or is
we've got
this
two more, and then we get into it.
doggone it?
I would have been a great.
Because
I guess we could skip forward if you want, and then go back.
no, no. Well, the only thing I was going to say was that where this one took a season to get going, I felt like The Office dropped off after Michael left. So, but I
Yeah.
want we'll save that. We'll save that.
No, yeah, we can get into that, yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
I hey now, some of our longest we haven't hit the longest show yet, so
Yeah, we're not skipping Jack here tonight. We're
all
going.
right. I don't want to skip for it. I want to skip your if we're not done talking about.
I'm done. I'm done. Yeah,
Well,
we're
I just want to
55
say
minutes in tonight.
again, I love Ron Swanson, one of the greatest characters we've gotten in a show.
Yes, Ron dancing with the little hat on
Yes,
whenever they all
there's
get
so
drunk on
many
the
memes.
stage.
Him throwing the computer away, him
Yeah,
dancing.
him
Um,
going around, him having the cubicle that's a circle, where
yeah,
he's just like rotating the chair. Yes, you're
exactly. Yeah,
right.
and again, going back to the Ted Lasso again, I loved watching how everyone changed by the end of it. And I will say, I
Yeah,
really,
I agree,
really, really
Michael.
appreciated the
Becker.
special they did where they did the video conference call with each other, and we got to check in on the characters and see
That's
where
during
they were.
COVID, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, that was
that
good.
was
I
that
agree.
made me so happy, like getting to see more. And that spawned, like, I don't think that spawned, but there were so many great ideas of that happened during such a terrible time, a terrible period of getting those uh not reconnections. I'm blanking on the word, but um oh my goodness. Reunion. Wow. Oof.
Yeah.
Maybe the Mickey hat
Oh,
is
this is
good, or the I'm sorry, the
yeah.
whatever we said, the fresh mess is cutting off my circulation.
Too tight. Too tight.
Yeah, but no, it's a great show. Yeah, I love that's such a top tier comedy. Um,
This
man,
is one where I could have filled up the whole screen with Scotty sketches of Stranger Things, and
yeah.
I left the best one off, the one that has like all four of the. I can't remember. It has
Oh,
11 on there too. You know the one that
yeah,
actually says
yeah,
Stranger Things, because
yeah.
that that is one of the first ways I was introduced to Stranger Things, was
Oh,
seeing
really?
Scotty's sketch. Yeah, because I thought,
Mm,
what is that show? Is that like, because it looked like, it reminded me of Stand by Me, like the image that he put up
yes,
there,
yes,
and I
exactly.
thought, is this an old show? Is this something I
Yeah,
missed during the 80s?
what's
And then
happening
I
here?
heard,
Yeah,
because Netflix dropped it, and within like a week, everybody was talking about it. And if you
yeah,
hadn't watched it, yeah, you were left out. So it's
yeah.
crazy how
This
quickly.
show, I've never had a show take over my life like this show did. Consistently the past few seasonal releases, my wife and I have stayed up the entire night binging the entire thing. I'm not generally one to like binge something. I know that's something Netflix really introduced, especially with
Hmm.
the introduction of streaming and everything. And I'm personally one, I like having that space in between to really think about a show and stuff. But this was a show that I watched just because I truly wanted to watch the entire thing at once, not because I was worried about. It definitely became about spoilers and stuff at a certain point, but I just
Yeah,
love this show. The aesthetics, the story, the characters. Again, you just cannot beat that 80s synth intro with the Stranger Things title. So like it just plays in my head even now thinking about it.
yeah,
Um, this is one that, interestingly enough, and we've kind of been discussing it because of the new season coming up in October. Um, it's kind of like, it's not a Game of Thrones situation, but it's one where unfortunately timing is just kind of killed.
yeah.
I think for a
Momentum.
lot of people, the drive for the show, because it's taken years to get to this point, to get to this final season. Um, I'm personally still very, very much excited for it. I love Stranger Things. Again, I this show is there's just so many fun memories, and like I said, just being able to stay up with Alexis and watch it in one night, and I own like the two. They only have released two seasons physically, and they both did like a faux pas or like a faux VHS collectible with the Blu-ray disc inside, which are like some of my favorite collectibles I own. Um, but yeah, I mean this show is just so great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's gonna
Yeah.
have kids, yeah, before it's released, which is wild because it's, and I think that's part of the appeal is the Harry Potter esque nature to it of getting to watch these kids really grow up in real
Yeah.
time and to have them be so young at the start and to go through that
Yeah,
and
lot of Rogaine and hair plugs there for the kids at for the time the new
I know,
season
yeah,
comes out.
exactly, yeah. Funny enough, they
You're
had a
right.
really cool Halloween Horror Nights house for this that was fun. Um, but yeah, this show, like I said, it's it was like, yeah, when it came out, it took over, and then we rewatch it, which again is not something I generally do, rewatch a show after it's come out, but this would be one I'm like, all right, let's start over and
Yeah.
we'll watch it again, kind of a deal.
Well, where I said that Firefly was like 14 mini movies. Each season of this is like one massive
Yeah.
blockbuster film. So it's so rewatchable. And my kids have rewatched it the season several times. And it's hard if I'm doing something else to not stop and just like start watching it too and get into it.
Yeah.
Oh crap, we've hit the 1 hour mark. I
I know.
promise
Yeah.
you
Just
all,
yeah.
I did just like the screen just popped. I promise you there is Skottie talk coming later on. But we're going to squeeze every ounce of life that we can out of. I hope they don't get us kicked off YouTube. Out of our favorite shows, and I'll talk fast. Sherlock. I couldn't find a good Scotty sketch of Sherlock, so this is my favorite
This is a
Doctor
great
Strange.
choice. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Dick Cumberbatch, but this is Doctor Strange and the Operation. I love this unused cover, so it's so
I
good.
know. It needs to be a print for sure.
Yeah, but Sherlock is such a great show. Really, I had no idea who the actors were. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Freeman. We knew who Freeman
Yeah.
was, but I didn't know who Benedict was when the show first came on. I've
Same.
always loved Sherlock, and if you had have asked me at first, the Robert Downey Jr. Uh, Sherlock Holmes
Yes.
films by Guy Ritchie, those are top notch and are good, and I can
Same.
rewatch those too. But Sherlock, something about the series and the chemistry between the actors of Watson and Holmes, and just the story and how they unfold, and it's so good. Sherlock is such a good show to rewatch, and I'm still holding out hope that they do another series much later on, to as they because those guys could, I'm sure, would be able to fall right back into the characters and
And I've looked at it a few times. They've talked about it for sure. And
mhm.
yeah, it's such a great series. If you love Sherlock, definitely check it out. And what's so interesting about it is, there's only 3 episodes each season. It was like a mini series of sorts.
Yeah,
And there's only a handful of seasons. I think like four
yeah,
or five,
series.
or
We're
five. Yeah.
yeah, we're the I don't know how BBC, how British people. We may not have anybody even watching from the UK, but whenever they refer to them as series, I'm like, just say seasons, just say seasons.
Oh,
But
I like, because it throws me off, because like when I
yeah,
think series, I'm like, oh, the entire series.
we're
Um,
Americanized. Yeah, and they would
yeah,
probably say the same thing to
I
us.
am
So
used to it though, and it was a show I contemplated adding to my list was Doctor Who. I love the Doctor Who
mm.
series. So I'm used to that, especially now that it's on Disney. They stream it there. So now I can get my series through there. But yeah,
Favorite.
it's such a great one. Favorite
We're
Doctor?
favorite Doctor. Yeah.
Again, I'm with most people where it's going to be Tenet. I love Tenet, and then I would say Matt Smith is my second. And then honestly, which would surprise, or maybe not surprise, but I would say Eccleston would be my third.
Really?
Um,
Oh,
the person who introduced me to Doctor Who, I'll never let them. Well, I won't let them live it down because I don't talk to them anymore since we left college. But when they introduced me, they told me, they were like, "Hey, we're just
excellent.
gonna skip 9 because I don't think they're good, and we're just gonna start with David Tennant." And in doing so, and I'm watching the time now, 'cause I'm like, all right, if we give like 5 minutes for each show, it won't be as bad. So um, I'll give myself 30 seconds of leeway here. But
Take your
they told me
time.
to
Take your
skip
time.
9 and go to 10, and I was like, okay. And I did that, and we watched, onward to 11, and then 12, and then I went back to 9. I was like, why'd you make me skip 9? I was like, I love this guy. I was like, Eccleston is great. I think he's a wonderful doctor. Um, but yeah, and again, I like all of them in each in their own
Yeah.
way. And I think some of them, kind of suffer from writing more so than the characters themselves. I'm really loving Chudy Gatwa right now. He's really fun. So yeah, Dr. Quinn. There, man, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. There you
There
go.
we go. Capaldi for me. Peter Capaldi is my
Really?
favorite Doctor. I
I
love
do
him.
say I do love Capaldi. He was just more
No.
strong arm than the other, which was a little bit, took some getting used to for me.
Well, we
Uh,
had came off of watching, House MD, and to me, he
uh,
reminded me so much of Gregory House,
that's
just
fair. Yeah,
the
he
curmudgeon.
does very much have the house. Yeah.
And he was the first Doctor I watched. Like I didn't, I had to go back and
Okay.
watch those. But my all-time, oh yeah, we're so far off the rails. But my all-time favorite Doctor Who episode is the Matt Smith Christmas episode, the wardrobe
Yes,
one.
that's a really great one.
We watch that one every Christmas, and we also watch the Peter Capaldi Last Christmas one with
Hmm.
Santa Claus in it.
Another
So
great one, yeah. Their Christmas specials, yeah, are always, which I think that's such an awesome idea for a show to do a Christmas special.
yeah,
But again, just the premise itself is so smart to have somebody who can regenerate and become a new person with a new personality and still be the same. Like it's and again, it's gotten convoluted and it's bigger, and that's something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
unfortunately you have to deal with it with something like that. But
But you can watch Doctor Who on so many different levels, though. My kids
yeah,
can watch it for just the surface level, and
yeah.
I can watch it for like the first level down, and then there's people that watch it for like 10 levels deep, where
Oh
they're like,
yeah, they're
"Oh,
like,
does this
oh wow,
harken back to?"
that was a nod to the Doctor back in 1963 in this one episode, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
get
like
that.
Tom
Yeah, yeah.
Baker, exactly. Like, I still have yet to watch, unfortunately, any of the old Who, as they refer to it now, or just Doctor Who. But yeah, it drives them crazy. Yeah.
and and that's why we like Sherlock.
Yeah.
So,
No, and yeah, going back to Sherlock, Sherlock is great. The
yeah,
one thing I will say, I have not watched The Abominable Bride yet, unfortunately. I've yet to
it's good.
watch
It's
that
not
that
great.
that movie. So,
It's
um,
good. It's not the best episode, but I could rewatch it.
and I will say, because I'm trying to get the actor's name, Andrew Scott is
Moriarty. Yeah,
Moriarty. That was my first introduction to him as well, and wow, holy, was that a phenomenal villain? Like
yeah.
that, again, I need to go back and rewatch them. They're so good. Such a great show. Yeah. Not for me. I mean,
Gosh,
then that's fair. And again, and that's the thing
Ryan
is,
is Ryan's
I
been
know,
coming in
yeah,
hot tonight. He
I
has been
know,
on fire.
yeah,
All right. Oh, this is your last pick, and we saved the best for last. So episode 5
yes.
or tie it.
Yeah,
Number 5.
again, and and I'm glad that you included Parks and Rec. And then we'll see coming up your last pick.
Yeah.
I'm again, it was tough for me. I kind of narrowed it down to one comedy show, and I know Brenton's going to come in here and give me a hard time. Oh, maybe not. No, I'll be interested to see what he thinks. But
Yeah.
for me, it mainly came down to rewatchability. The Office is on. There's not a show that I really know more. I'm like, oh, this is that episode. Like I don't know like the
Yeah.
exact name or number and kind of stuff, but um there you go. So yeah, I was getting worried that it wasn't going to be on here at all.
Yeah.
Um
It would have been
it's
on mine as well. So
again, I love Parks and Rec. And again, they do two separate things, and that's why it was so tough to kind of choose between. But out of all of the comedy shows I've watched, I've rewatched The Office time and time and time again. There's I can put it on and like there's just so many one-off bangers. Just tons of humorous intros, whether it's the intro that I love or like, oh, a certain character's side story in the episode kind of a deal. I love these sketches. Again, it feels so different. The style for Skottie, for some reason, like they're so interesting. Yeah, I just love this show. Like you said, it definitely teetered off. I will say though, I am glad I watched past when Michael left, because again, it wasn't all great, but there were so
yeah.
many. There were some pretty funny hits. Mainly Robert California. I actually really liked Robert California. Like I thought he was funny.
Ryan.
And even just for like coming back, because for spoiler, but Michael came back at the end. So that last episode was really
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, he had to buy a second wallet to keep extra pictures of his kids in it. That was such a Michael
Yeah,
Scott touch.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I love that show. And again, there, as we've seen, so many shows have tried to capture what The Office did, and again, it was such a big one for with people. Not to say the other ones weren't, but yeah, I love this show and I love the characters. And again, I'll throw it on at any point in time and just go down the rabbit hole. So
Except Scott Stotts, I cannot watch that
yes.
episode.
So
That is painful.
and on that real quick. So it's funny. So there's two groups of people. The people that don't like Scott's Tots and the people that don't like the dinner party episode.
Oh, the
And
dinner party episode's the best episode.
I know. And see, and that's where
Yeah.
I stand is I think the dinner episode is hilariously awkward. It is indeed awkward, but it's funny. Whereas
So
Scott
good.
Tots is just awful because he promised
so
these
bad.
kids that if they graduated, he would get them into college, and then he could only buy them
It's like,
batteries.
yeah, it's like,
And
hey, y'all have laptops? Oh, you're buying us laptops. No,
oh,
we just got batteries.
it's so
One
cringe.
battery.
It's so yeah. Every time if I put it on and that comes on, I'm like, oh no. Yes, Hunter's
Yeah,
song exactly. Like
yeah,
eating ice
that
cream in the
line.
car, listening to Hunter's song. Like
You, yeah,
it's just yeah. I think it's funny people who find that episode actually unwatchable. I'm like, really? I'm like, I think it's hilarious. Like I don't know how
well,
you couldn't laugh.
when we go to bed and breakfasts or go to B&Bs and there's the little footstool at the end of a bed, I'm always like, is that where I'm sleeping
This is
now?
where I lay. Yeah.
Because that's, just for the dinner party episode,
And, and she comes in cleaning up like, honey, I told you to
Yeah,
clean up, like putting the camera away, and Jim and Pam are
yeah,
like, what is happening? Like I do
yeah.
not want to
There's
that and
I'm
I
the
can
devil.
yeah,
There's so
I can like
much.
hear Pam's voice when Jim's like, no, I gotta go, like my apartment's like flooded, and she like, Jim, you can replace things, you can't replace friends. And they're all like, yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right. And like, oh, it's just yeah, there's again, I haven't quoted, I feel like, a comedy as much as I have
Yeah.
The Office for
And that
sure.
one episode is so quotable. Even the fact that Michael Scott had ran into the glass door numerous
Yes.
times. The little
Yes.
TV, which I with my phone using talking to it right now, it feels like I have Michael Scott's TV. I keep
I
pulling my
love
phone
watching
closer.
the behind the scenes of oh goodness, because it's so funny. The Office really does that for me. I don't know if it does it for you, where like I just can't think of them other than their character names.
I have to check.
Um,
Yeah. Which one
but
is
watching them all break down while he's doing that with the TV is just super funny. So
then you must keep doing it, Becker. If she hates it, that's how you keep the romance
exactly.
alive. So I'm right there.
Yeah. I know, yeah, the super, yeah, and that's an interesting one too. If you haven't seen the super fan episodes, where they're, I think it's Peacock. I think it's where that's at. Brenton could correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think you're right.
yeah. And then last but not least,
And this was by default because there was, and as we've been sitting here, I've been jotting them down. The Good Place is another show that I love
oh
that had
man,
such a
Good
great
Place. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Good Place is so good.
twist and such a great ending.
Yes.
Psych is another show that I'm glad they keep
Mm.
producing movies for. Another one for rewatchability, Big Bang Theory. It's not the best show, but it has enough in it that I can go back and rewatch it. But my last pick was Parks and Rec. Had to get Parks and Rec on there. Uh, Brooklyn Nine Nine.
I didn't know if you were doing a joke, yeah, or
No, no, no,
if
no.
you were being
I've got all kinds of notes written down here. So Nine,
yeah,
Brooklyn
I
Nine
knew
Nine
Brenton,
was
yeah,
on
would
there.
love.
So
That's one of his personal
yeah,
favorites, and it is really. I've really been
I
meaning to
love it.
rewatch this show.
Oh, you're probably trying to click comments as I am because I
Oh no,
froze
no,
it
I'm
up.
not. No, I'm not clicking anything.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to bring them up. Everybody's saying
Mm.
9-9 on there. So, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yes, that's another show. Flight of the Concords is good. It has good moments,
Oh
but I
yeah, Flight
wouldn't.
of the Concords. Yeah. Oh,
It's better.
Wilfred. Wow,
Wilfred was.
Wilfred. Yeah.
It's my wife just mentioned that show like 3 days ago. She's like,
So
"Did we watch a show with the dog?" And I said, "Yes," but
the only I'll go off quickly just to tell this quick story. But I attended Ringling College of Art and Design, and we'd have celebrities they would bring in to like talk to us and stuff. And one of them was Elijah Wood, which I thankfully got to go see him talk, which was really cool. And then I found out the night before they had brought on the actor who played the Wilfred the dog in
yeah.
his actual dog suit for like
Oh,
a
that's
small
awesome.
selection of people. And I was so angry because I was in the middle of watching Wilfred and thought it was such a hilarious show. And I was so upset that I missed this wonderful opportunity. But yeah, I thought that was really, I was like, wow, what are the chances, they get him in the dog suit, to
That's
do. But yeah, it was
awesome.
such a weird show,
It
but
was a good.
so funny. It's one I need to, or I would like to go back and rewatch. I don't know if what need is the right word, but I want to go back and rewatch. So
Well, speaking of weird shows, before we get into, I keep on saying Parks and Rec. Before we get into Brooklyn Nine Nine, did you watch Dirk Gently, the
no,
holistic
I
detective?
know of it, but I never watched it. No.
That is one of the best shows to watch. That for the first 9 episodes, you have no idea what's going on, and they
Mm,
somehow wrap it up in the 10th episode and explain everything. There's only I think 2 seasons of it, but it add it
okay.
to your list. It's good. And it's got Elijah
I think it's
Wood.
on. I'll
So
double check. I think it's on there because I've heard good things about it. So
so the reason I X'd out the three dramas on the left is that the Walking. You were talking about shows that like brought the community together, brought everybody
Yeah.
together. I mean, I was the Facebook communities I was a part of. We were live watching The Walking Dead. At work, I was doing I was doing spreadsheets and PowerPoints of Lost and of different Dharma symbols on sharks and in the cages and what the smoke monster could be and all the theories that I was pulling from spoiler websites. So I was really involved in The Walking Dead. I was really involved in Lost, even Succession. I got hooked on that show so much that as I went to bed, the theme song would be playing in my head. As I would walk to the copier at work, I would hear that piano with the kind of the urban. Uh, have you heard the theme song to Secession?
I have not. It is one that's high up
Okay,
on my list because I've heard great things. My brother's has toted it to me. So
well, it's worth walking down the hall thinking, yeah, I'm as cool as these guys are. I'm moving, but that kind of stuff. But anyway, all three of these shows, the ending kind of petered out for me. It wasn't kind of
mm,
what I was hoping for. Even Succession had a great ending, but it was almost like Game of Thrones' ending where I didn't like the way
yeah.
the pieces ended landed. So it left a sour note for me. Other great shows that have just recently came on. I really praised Adolescence. That was
Mm,
such a good show, uh, but I will never watch it again because I feel like it scarred me. So there's a difference between like what we consider great shows and what we consider fun shows and rewatchable shows and shows that kind of live on in pop culture. And to me, you couldn't find a better example than Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Uh, there's one clip that I saw recently, and it pops up in different TikTok videos. But when they're trying to figure out why Amy Santiago's late to work, and Holt gets in
yes.
on it. You know the scene I'm talking about, and I won't
Yeah.
spoil it. Anybody needs to watch it. Has not watched it again. Just Google Amy Santiago late for work and watch that cold opening,
Some
and
of the
it is
best cold openings. I will say it has some like
yes,
again like Office, like so many great cold openings for that show.
yeah, and it's the Halloween episodes were great. The
Ah, yes.
storyline between Amy and Jake were great. Terry Crews, I could watch Terry Crews in just about anything. He's so good, and everybody hates Chris as the dad. He was so good in that, and so many movies that Idiocracy,
Oh
President,
my
and
goodness, yeah.
he's Terry Crews is the man, and he's just one small part in this huge ensemble. But yeah, so great, so great.
Yeah, Bauer too.
Yeah, rest
Again,
in
who
peace.
unfortunately passed away. That was my first introduction to him, and I've been trying to be better about when I find somebody I like to try and go back and watch some of their um previous stuff that they've worked on that I might have missed because I liked
Yeah,
them. And he was great. And same with who played Boyle. I'm blanking on the actor's name. Um, uh,
yeah.
I mean, again, like you said, the whole cast and crew, Scully and Hitchcock were the same. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
so many great
I
shows.
rewatched the speech from Will just last week during my lunch hour. Did you ever watch the newsroom? Aaron
Now
Sorkin's.
it's again that one is one that's on my list, and if I'm thinking, actually, I want to look this up to make sure it's
It's
the
Jeff Daniels is the kind of the
yes, that one
conservative
is
anchor.
so high on my list because I've watched the one
It's
clip
really
that went
good.
around, and
Yeah,
I
why is
really
America the best country? And
yes, I
yeah,
really want to go back and watch that show because yeah, it seems like to me like that would be one of my more favorite performances of him. A stark
very good.
contrast to Dumb and Dumber, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, and he does such a good job. And the ensemble on that too is really, and it's also got a younger David Arbor in it as a news anchor. So pre Stranger Things. So
Mm. Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say. Oh no, you go ahead with this
I was
one.
just going to finish this up. The Lost finale, they did a good job, kind of like finishing everybody, making everybody happy there at the end. And I don't want to spoil it. I mean, it's Lost has been out for 2 decades, but I still don't want to spoil the last season and what it was. There was just how they got there, and with Jacob and the Man in Black and all the reveals of the island, they had the fan theories for that show how it would end were a lot better than how the writers actually they wrote themselves into a hole and they
Yeah,
couldn't get out of it. So the very last episode did I'm not gonna lie, I did shed tears because like I said, I'm a softie. But it wasn't it wasn't a pleasant experience to get to the end. So that's all I'll
and
say.
that's one of the the interesting things about shows. They're like Lost or And even one because I was going to segue and I didn't think about it till now, but we should have done a slide where our honorable mentions of shows,
Mm.
which you kind of gave your list here and then some other ones.
Yeah, I cheated horribly. I cheated
No, I
horribly.
know, but one of mine being Severance, because it's that same
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
where there's such a mystery to the show and people are coming up with all kinds of theories. And again, it's like the whole thing with the monster movie is it's best to not see the monster, because
yeah.
your imagination will always be more interesting than whatever visual somebody will put into your own mind. Which is why Alien, worked so well because it only gave you glimpses and flickers of what the creature looked like. You didn't get the full thing. But yeah, I would say Severance is a big one. I absolutely love that show. It is one of the top Apple TV shows, along with Shrinking, another fantastic comedy.
Yes.
Um,
I thought about
that.
that. I actually thought about that one,
Oh,
but
did
it's
yeah?
too
It
new.
was
It's
one
too
because it
new.
was
Too new.
yeah, it was so hard because again, it's that same Ted Lasso effect where I'm crying one minute, I'm laughing the
Yeah.
next minute, then I'm back to crying, and in a good way too. It's not bad. It's just because it's the characters have so much heart. A big one for me was Dexter. I loved Dexter, but again, like Game of Thrones, that was my first, I feel like, real taste. Before Dexter, I used to believe that you should finish a show no matter if you're enjoying it or not. After
Yeah.
Dexter, I thought the exact opposite because I did not enjoy the ending of Dexter. I will say, or
Well,
show this off because I just recently got this, but they just released Dexter Pops, and I got the
oh,
Funko
cool.
Special Blood Splatter edition, and even has like blood splatter on the plastic there. But I have, again, back when shows and movies used to do limited editions, I have the Blood Splatter Blu-ray collection, which is like one of my favorites in my personal collection. Same with the drum barrel from Breaking Bad I have. Um, and then other ones, Westworld would
Westworld.
definitely have gone on here. And again, that was a tough one because it got
Yeah.
canceled. It kind of dropped
Yeah.
off after season one. Season one was pinnacle Westworld.
Yeah. It was really good.
Peak, so perfect. If it just had that, I think it would definitely top to most people's charts. Um, I think those were the main ones.
Well, one
I
now. I
mean,
don't know if you're watching. Are you watching Last of Us now?
I am, yes. I am watching Last of Us. I tried playing the games. I'm not a sneaky person. That stuff just I don't have the patience for it. So I couldn't get into it, and I'm not a big zombie person, which is why Walking Dead never really appealed to me. So while I'm
Hmm.
enjoying Last of Us, it's one that I could probably give up, and I wouldn't be like too angry about it. It's really good, and I like it, but again, it's just not really surprisingly because everybody's like, "Man, Last of Us," and going crazy for it. But
I feel the same way. We've enjoyed watching it. The first season was good. Second, I'm not going to give any spoilers since
yeah,
the third episode just aired, but it's good. But it's not one that I feel like I have to watch Sunday night like I have, which is sad because there's all these shows that Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, that Sunday night used to be all right. Let's get the popcorn ready. The kids would go to bed. Me and my wife, I would run to Taco Bell and get us the $5 thing, and that
mm,
would be our supper that night. We'd watch
I
one of
like the
these shows.
sounds of this.
Yeah, then but that's all kind of went away. There's nothing that gets us that excited. I mean, Ghost right now is a show that we watch on network TV,
Yeah.
but that's about the extent of our network TV watching. The best show that I watched recently was The Pit, and we talked a little bit about that with
Oh, Pit
Maureen.
was the Pit was so good.
It was
Severance
really
was
good.
that before I stopped.
Severance is good.
Right
Yeah,
now for
that's a
me that's Andor, and unfortunately the way they're doing this final season is they're dropping 3 episodes every Tuesday.
oh wow,
So,
that's
yes,
intense.
there's 12 total, so it'll just be 4 weeks. I don't really know why. I'd be curious to get their reasoning, but the way I'm doing it now is so I watch because it releases at 9, so I watch one that night, one in the morning before I work, and then one during my lunch break. And then that way I can
I
watch
got
all 3 within technically, 24-hour period. And that's how I kind of knock them out. So
I got you. That's what. At least you got a plan to watch them, and you'll have some resolution on it. So whether it's good or bad, it'll be over with relatively quickly.
exactly, yeah. And and again, it's getting better. And I really loved Andor season 1. I really loved Rogue One. Some of the better Star Wars stuff, in my opinion, that we're getting recently. But yeah, and that's why I also juggle like
Oh,
20 shows because then I'm like, oh, then I can, if maybe 2 or 3 of them are big hits, and the rest of them are just kind of extra toppings. So
I got you. Well, I think we're a minute or an hour 25 in. Let's talk some Skottie.
we
Other
had
than
some
the death,
Skottie related images, and
yeah. This one we've played this one 3 weeks in a row, so I'll bust through it. But tomorrow we'll begin our "You Complete Me" challenge, which is the completest challenge on the Skottie Young Appreciation Group on Facebook. We've ran through the rules. If you want to flip through these pretty quickly, I'll say next after. So next, remember, I've got 7 days scheduled to go live at 7 a.m. on May 1st through this May 7th with stock images of either one book up to I think 6 books. So what you'll do is once I post what book it is in the comments section, you will next next sorry for and once you see this post pop up in the group, you will next. I don't have I feel like
oh,
I'm
I see what you're saying. I
dictating
got you.
there.
There was a next,
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You'll post a picture of your book with some note in there to let me know it's you, and I will put those points in a spreadsheet, and we'll share the spreadsheet each week here on Skottie Talk so you can see how you're doing, and it'll also be shared with the group. And then next, you'll see what the spreadsheet looks like. I'll have your name up there in the books for each day, how many points you've accumulated, and at the end of the contest, if you have the most points, you will receive next. No, things to remember. I'm trying to go fast. We're
No, I understand.
like my mouth's starting to get. So things to remember. Challenge will last all 31 days. Rare books will have a higher point value. No pump, no point bump for CGC and CBCS. Don't hesitate to submit because after 24 hours, I will lock it down within plus or minus an hour or two. Person with the most points wins a prize. Anybody that participates will be put into a randomizer, a wheel spin, and you'll have a chance to win. The person that wins the contest will get 3 posters: the big Spider-Man poster, the huge comic Gert poster, and then the regular size big Marvel poster, plus a $25 gift card. This is for the winner. Next. And then the participants who all get their names put in a random wheel. If you just do one day, you'll still get your name put in. Um, should we put the name in if they do 31 days? Never mind. Let's not do this.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just one participation. Yeah,
Okay. Our wheel will have 1,000 different options on it. So
yeah.
yeah, so you'll get your name put in and have a chance to win a $25 gift card to the Skottie shop. All right, I think it's good luck to everybody. I'm looking forward to get that started. Any new? I have nothing. Blow yourself up and
I do, yes. As
all
some
right.
people would have already seen from my Instagram post and my Facebook post, but I did indeed receive my very special Brett Bean original art for the very final issue and very final page that he did for the I Hate Fairyland series. I won't say what's on, and I didn't want to like spoil it for those who haven't read it, but again, it's just really silly and funny the way that they ended it. The details are really great. It's such a fun page. Like Dustin said, he hadn't noticed the Dorothy there as she's running away, trying to get away from the massacre and everything. But yeah, such an
I
awesome
love
page.
that.
Just really
That's
sums
great.
up Gert. And again, there's just so much going on. Such a fun page, and the fact again that it's the final page. That's not something like I don't need to have like the first or anything like that, but I felt like such a connection to, and I really loved Brett's run on it. Didn't know if he'd be willing to part with this or not. Some people like to keep certain pages and covers, but he was very grateful and gracious enough to give me to let me buy this piece. He didn't just give it to me, but to let me buy this
Well,
piece.
I've got to talk to
Um,
Brett.
yeah, exactly. They're gonna be like, "Well, Brett,
That's
where's
great.
my free page?"
No, and I couldn't think of a person more worthy to have it, Tyler. I know
Oh no,
you're a
I
huge fan,
I
so
I appreciate, yeah, and thankfully
I'm
I
back.
did. I beat out a certain someone, Seth, not mentioning any names, Seth,
Yeah.
who maybe wanted it, which I felt bad about. I was like, because he messaged, and I was like, oh no, like I already did, and because again,
Yeah.
I don't normally do that. I even I think posted it on Instagram or Facebook, but I normally like letting the artist post it, and then I'm like, okay, maybe then I'll buy it. So but I'm getting more courageous with, because I found that you have to be, if you want certain pieces, that's kind of
Yep.
how, because if you're not going to do it, somebody else will, and they might beat you to it. But Yeah, if you have a group poster.
Just for books only.
I'm gonna,
Um,
yeah, there you go. I'm gonna rejoin the group with an alias. I don't know.
yeah, I put
Oh
that up for you.
goodness.
I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking. I put that one up
Oh,
while
did
we
you?
were.
Okay, I must have missed that one then.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking, but all right, this is going to be good. Hopefully, everybody we have a lot of participation. New
Hopefully
releases. This
so.
for our first like 25 shows, it was like we had so many releases every week because
Yeah.
of the the 8 deaths of Spider-Man series. It was like every other week there was one of those, but
Well,
uh,
I just realized I messed up. There is a new release which I can try and maybe get to it here.
yep, that's what you got to do.
I placed it at the wrong. This should have been at the
Oh,
new releases. The just yesterday, the
uh,
trade paperback for
yes,
Human Torch
I forgot about that one.
dropped. Yeah, so this
Well
collects the
played.
1 through 6 issues he did back in 2003. And this is where I'll hopefully get Skottie to put Laffy Lit on the
Yeah,
inside because
man.
I know that he's just dying to write out those words.
Yes,
But
that is
I am
fire.
hoping to
That is
pick this up. I
fire.
don't exactly. I don't have the trade because I think there's been previous trade paperbacks, or has there not been? And
I don't know. I need to check the checklist to see if I've got that one noted on there as a previous.
I don't know if there. I thought there had been previously. I think there has been. So that this is just another one or like a new one with like a new cover and stuff. Or like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but it's still, if you don't have it, I don't have this one in trade paperback form. I've got all the individual issues, so
Yeah,
I definitely want
it's
to
it's
add
hard
this
to
one to the
think that
collection.
it's hard to imagine that in today's age where everything gets collected into trade paperbacks that this one wouldn't be out there at one point in time. But different world
Yeah.
back then. That was several years ago, so
Yeah, almost
it may not have been.
25 years ago. So
But other than that, nothing new this week.
nothing new, yes. But
But for new pre-orders, this was pretty wild. I didn't realize it was on the cover page of one of Preview's books.
yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
So they highlighted it. And if we go to the next slide, you can see this is fourth slash fifth product of Deadpool like this that because you had your very first one, then you had the diorama, then you had the action pose, which Seth had actually sent this image of the fourth one. And it's like, hey, there's a new Deadpool. And I'm like, silly Seth. He
No, we've
doesn't know.
seen this. Yeah.
He doesn't know any better. He thinks he's trying really hard though. So, and I really thought that this was the exact same one. And then
Yeah.
I had to apologize to Seth, which was very hard to do, and say, no, there is a fourth one now. And it's cool. I like it. Granted, there could have been other characters that I would have liked to see released first, but I mean, if this keeps the line going, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Release as many Deadpools as you
I
need
will
to.
say I think out of all of them, I think it's my personal favorite. It's either it or the Merc. And that's hard.
Yeah, that's a diorama. That's hard
That's
to.
a
Yeah,
tough one to compare
there's
because
a
there's
lot
so
going
much
on.
more. But
Yeah,
I just like the pose. And again, I like where, and I was thinking about this the other day, and eventually we'll have our Gentle Giant statue show. But again, where they started versus where they are now, with how much more graphic they're getting
yeah,
with the lines and certain highlights and colors and stuff. Again,
so
they've
good.
never been closer to his comic drawings than they are now, which I just really love. So
I agree. All right, Imperial #2 was announced as a pre-order, and we actually got an image of Imperial
I
#1 that
I
dropped
know. I was
today.
just really, yeah, I should have put that. I saw it. And I just realized I should
I
have put it in the.
I thought of it on the way home from work today, and then I didn't think about it till just right now. And
Well,
Ryan, the
here we
pew
go.
pew.
Good thing that I roll my eyes in the back of my head because
Yes.
I can always quickly get it up. But this is the Imperial #1 cover reveal.
Nice. The Richard Rider. And someone had asked, is this the first version of this Nova that Skottie has put on there? And I believe it is, because the other ones were the Sam Alexander, I think, was the version of Nova that was on the other cover.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, so issue 2, I've already pre-ordered a couple of these as well. So, and someone had said, I don't even, and I agree with the comment that was from the Facebook group, was like, I don't even need to see what the cover looks like. I see Skottie's name, and I go ahead and pre-order it, and I think we're all in that same boat. We do. This obviously is not Skottie's cover here. This is
yeah,
just an image show too. So, in case someone's looking and go, "Hey, you guys are wrong." All right,
yeah.
what else? What else we got? Oh, this was I wasn't familiar with this book, and this is, I
Yeah.
guess, a
Who?
follow up.
Yeah. Who called it? Because I was like, man, again, where y'all getting? I don't know
Um,
where to get this information, this stuff. So
I hate to give anybody credit or falsely give credit, but I know Corey calls out a lot of stuff. Shane,
I would have given Seth credit,
uh,
but no more. So
no. Corey calls out a lot of stuff on there. Shane's the one that sent me the image of the Imperial #1. So whoever did this was great. Megan had commented in the group too about the link to this where they spoke about Skottie within the press release for this. But obviously, once again, this cover is not Scottie's cover. He has not went that different on it. This is just a just a
he thought he
placeholder.
switched
So
things up. Yeah.
yeah,
But I'll be curious to see what his cover looks like. So
it'll be great. It'll be great. We feel good. Oh, okay, I forgot this was in. My gosh, we're almost at hour two, and
I
this
was gonna
is
say, yeah, we've got technically 11 more slides after this.
just in case you're pacing yourself at home.
Yeah.
You have time for a bathroom break and to come back before we finish the show. I love this
um,
cover. I love this cover.
yeah,
If you're calling dibs on 41, I'm calling dibs on 42.
that's
I
fair.
this I saw
Yeah,
this and my jaw dropped, and I thought
it's
I want to see Scottie's version of the what helicorn. My mind went
Helicorn.
blank for
Yes,
yeah, my
yes,
mind went blank for a second, but yeah, so good, so good.
yeah.
This
No,
was
it's again so fun. Again, I love what they're doing. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
we
love what they're
don't. Good point.
doing.
Good point,
Yeah,
Ryan.
super fun. As I found out, Mike Mignola. I always thought it was Mignola, which I realized was wrong. Um, yes, we will be done by then because I have tickets at 7, so I have to be done before 7. So,
Nope.
um, I'll be sure to message any spoilers while I'm in the middle of the showing to you,
Nope.
Seth.
I'm pulling a Cory Booker. We're going all night here. I'm, we're I shouldn't have drank that Diet Mountain Dew, but we're not stopping. We're this is my filibuster time.
This train keeps
Just
going. Yeah.
that's right. Um, but
No,
yeah,
yeah,
you taught me.
such a
You're
fun cover.
and Tyler's the one that taught me how to say Minola. I have to
Yeah,
even work on it.
Mignola.
So
Yeah, like the G, like
Mignola.
G, I guess is silent. So
Gosh,
yeah,
well,
Mignola.
I say that you taught me how to say it, then I proceed to say it incorrectly. So that's not Tyler's fault. That's my fault.
No,
So
that's a you can put that one on me. So
yeah, this it's so good, so good. Yeah, it looks it's in. I should say it's a homage to a
yes,
Mignola cover, but this is by Derek Loffman. So
and
and you
I'm
can
super
tell by the
excited. I
little
can't wait for free comic book day. We'll discuss that a little bit ahead. But Skottie
curriculum.
comment on the Substack. We'll get a little bit of preview of what Derek's cooking up in there. And again, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Everything they've shown so far just gets me super excited. And again, I can't wait to see what Scottie's cover for this one is going to be as well. So
yeah. I've got 16% left of my phone, so
that's another reason that
yeah, kill my filibuster. I'm not going to go all night. We've got about
false
10 minutes
alarm,
left.
false alarm.
Yeah, so, oh, I don't think we talked about this last week. I went and looked and I couldn't remember. I thought
I
we
think
had,
we
but
talked. I don't think we had it, or maybe
we
we
didn't
did.
have
I
the
know we,
image, maybe.
yeah, because
Okay,
remember I compared it to the Stray Dogs and how I said I wasn't as big of a Stray
that's
Dogs
true. That's
fan,
true.
but
So
I
we didn't have
did
the
really like
details for
this
the
one.
sale.
No, I don't
Maybe
think we
we.
had any of the
That's what.
the stuff. Yeah,
Okay, you're right. I got you. Um, yeah, this one it's got a low edition size. I think there are four of any cover, but I like this one. As they said, as Scotty saw this book, uh, James Tynion's new horror series. Uh, I think the premise of it is there's like 12 different killers that get released in a town, and
oh,
this is one of the killers. I'm assuming, and I think
mm,
as the newsletter said, Scotty was drawn to this character and had to draw it. So I don't blame him. He did an absolute incredible job on this.
yeah. No, like I said, I really love this one. Same with the we're taking everyone down with us. Again, I love when he gets excited about something and then gets me excited through the cover, and then I can read the comic, and then I get
Yeah,
interested in the comic as well. So, um,
yeah. And I will say when you did thousands of covers, it's there's going to be some overlap.
Yeah.
And
And
so yes,
you know,
yeah.
and again, I think part of that too is again he, how many covers he does, the comics he's writing on and stuff. Like again, he's, it's yeah. Again, it's it's going to be everybody's
But what's
opinion,
exciting to
but
me about whenever I see covers that are kind of reminiscent of other covers is that I love the fact that it creates a theme. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, or like I said, like
yeah,
there'll be
and you,
ones, like I said, where this is very
yes,
similar to his Stray Dogs. But again, I wasn't really a fan of the Stray Dogs one, but I absolutely love this cover, and I'm super excited for it. So again, it's that kind of where they can be similar, but they hit different things, or just depending on the characters and the material as well. So
yeah. And as Blanco said, where he said he refers to them as homages. It kind of you can see where it's like, all right, well, he took something that he may have did in an earlier time, like the Stray Dogs, and just kind of expanded upon it and created a new character that goes in that same. So you could put this cover next to your Stray Dogs cover on a
yeah,
rack
like a
on a
horror
shelf,
series. Yeah,
and it would fit in, and it would be like, all right, those are both Scottie's books,
yeah.
different characters, same theme. So I'm cool with it. And
Well,
I'm
we
sure
need
Scottie's worried about it, worried about me being cool with it.
well, we need now, and I dare say this because I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but I want to see like a cool like reverse glow in the dark one where it's like under a black light, like the blood is lit up under a black
Ah,
light, and it's like a dark
okay,
room, but then it's glowing, brightly.
yeah.
But again, I know unfortunately there are ways to take that in a not so great way, so probably best to not do that. So
Next.
yeah.
Oh, and Scottie's newsletter
Yes.
for anybody that missed out today or yesterday, whenever it was, he kind of did a history of his involvement in Free Comic Book Day, which will be this upcoming Saturday, May the 3rd.
Yes, Saturday. Yep.
So go visit your local comic shop.
A day
He did
before,
the
May the 4th be with you. So
May the 4th, yeah. Or man, I just now remembered Tyler's next week is Tyler's birthday spectacular. We're gonna just talk about Tyler's birthday all next week. So
and
be
the
tune in
views
for that.
drop off. So yeah.
Yeah,
If we
it's
thought
gonna
Disney
be a
was bad, just wait till next
wait
week.
till we're gonna have a slideshow of Tyler from when he was a baby up until this last show. So
Oh
we'll
goodness.
have
I'm gonna
obviously
Photoshop
I'll
like
have
Skottie comic
yeah,
books like in every single photo. Like I've been a fan
yeah.
since the day I was born. So
That's right. Before Scotty even knew he was Scotty Young.
yeah.
Back when he still had a C in his name. That's when Tyler liked him. Yeah.
Oh man, goodness.
But anyway, he did an excerpt from gosh, I see I didn't even realize that X-Men book there. I don't have that one.
I
So I
know,
had
yeah,
never
I
seen the
don't have
interior
this one in
for it.
my I've known about it, but I haven't been as like I need to because it's a excuse me, it's a difficult one to try and find. So I haven't been able to add it, but I would like to.
But you can see some of Scotty's art there in the second panel
Yeah.
there. The third image was whenever they asked Scotty to create the official image for Free Comic Book Day. The fourth image is of his Rocket book that he did the cover for. Let me rephrase that. Not his Rocket book. This was before he started doing
Yeah.
Rocket, but this was a Rocket book that they asked
Yeah.
Scotty to do a cover for. So this was a nice introduction into that character that Scotty would own much, not too far after
And then
this.
you
So
happen to be wearing one as well. So
you saw that. You saw that. So
yes. I again that's I commented
wow,
and
that's
said it on
next.
his Substack, but all right, yeah, I guess I could blow you up real quick.
Oh no, no,
Um
don't. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, it's on the next slide. It's the
oh,
next
is it?
slide, right?
Okay. Did I
Yeah, yeah,
skip
yeah. So
ahead?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. I was just gonna say I
you
love that
can.
artwork. It's one of my favorite artworks of his. Again, just capturing that appeal of being a kid and your imagination, and so I had to get one of these shirts off eBay, which I did, but I was grateful to be able to because I missed it in
There you
person
go.
that year. So
All right. Yeah, this was the image that I think he did. I can't remember. It was 2020, 2021. He put in the newsletter, but
yeah,
you
2001
can
I think it was.
you can blow me up for just a second, and then I'll.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, see
Yeah,
my tummy. There we go.
it's such a great one though.
Yeah. Someone from the group had posted a link to this shirt, and that's where I ended up getting it from. I can't remember the shop I bought it from, but yeah,
Mm.
thank you to whoever that was. But real quick before we get into this, and I haven't said real quick that much tonight, but I feel like
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
as we hit the 2 hour mark, I'm starting to actually mean it. So, uh, we'll be, yes, no, there's none of that. But I hate image. Skottie's story behind that was really fun, and the
Yes.
fact he was really appreciative of getting to draw Gert and Spawn. But this was, and I've told this story. I think I never before. I've told it with to several people. Uh, Felix Comic Art was selling Skottie's art at the time, and I was so excited that to possibly own purchase a page that had the Will or Lion Cat on there from Saga
Yes.
or with Gert. I was like, oh, I'm going to go for that one. I'm going to try to get that one, and unfortunately, and Alberto, I think he's still the owner of this, but the book along with the cover sold complete to one collector.
Mm,
So and we've mentioned this before. I think Alberto took the one that had like the image creators and had them all sign that page. So I doubt he'll ever get rid of this issue, but
yeah.
if he does, I call dibs on the one that has a
That's
lion
yeah,
cat on it.
that's such an awesome issue, and let alone the page, but just the whole thing itself is just chock full
So good,
of
so good.
so many good crossovers and characters, and like Skottie said, to be able to be honored to be able to draw not only the comic for that year for Free Comic Book Day, but to be able to draw all those characters and be allowed to play with them and have them with his own creation with Gert is I can't imagine the feeling of being able to do that. And like you said, having Spawn right there next to the Gert, and how
Very cool,
awesome
right?
that would be. So
And I think this was where Scotty broke the fourth wall too in the issue
mm,
where he refers like this is what's going to pay for his kids' college fund. Like
yeah.
this, so there are so many good jokes on that, and brings us up to this year. Scotty
Yes.
has as he approaches the big 5-0 for I Hate Fairyland, he is this will be at your local comic shop. Hopefully, if it's not all uh, grabbed up by other collectors. So, and one quick thing, we had this brought up. Oh, I forgot the member that posted the book that she had got a little bit early, and
Oh
there were people.
yes.
There were several collectors, and I understand the viewpoint of wanting a book that's pristine, but historically these books are thinner. They're not as well. They're
Yeah,
handled
they
in
are
bulk.
mass produced. Yeah,
A
very thin
lot
and
of
flimsy.
a lot of the people that are giving them away for free, they do have cost associated with them, but so they don't bag and board them. They just have them sitting out there. And free comic book day, at least in my area, at the one comic shop that I have like 40 minutes away, uh, there's lots of little kids there because this is really a good event to get kids involved in reading comics and get future collectors, future readers, future fans. And so these books, it's going to be hard to find a really good copy of them. And I just want to, I know we have very polite members in our group. Hopefully, no one is rude to any of their comic shops
Yeah.
for not having pristine copies, especially when they're
and
free. So,
and not putting this other, because again, we don't we don't represent Stupid Fresh Mess and Skottie Young or anything
no,
in them, but again, never say never. Maybe these end up in a personal collection slabbed, or maybe these a few of these are signed and slabbed or something like that. So um but yeah, I mean,
it
again,
does
he's
sound
in.
low. It does sound a little low. It's
Yeah.
especially as the big shop for 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's it's like you said, these meant comics are in theory at its base is meant to be collected and read, and then and they've become a lot more collectible and that kind of stuff.
But
But
if
yeah.
you're not one to, if you don't have a comic shop local to you and you're wanting this issue, Stupid Fresh Mess is offering, if you buy any of Scotty's creator owned books, and they posted this in their latest newsletter. If you go to
Yep.
Substack and check it out, they're going to throw one of these in for free, signed by Scotty, with that
Yep.
nice pink signature down there in the corner
And
of the
that
book.
includes
So
the Daily Grind sketchbooks, which is
right,
cool. If I didn't own any of these, I would have bought one. I'm
yeah,
almost tempted to buy a double just to get it. But again, I've got Heroes coming up, thankfully, so I'll bring mine with. So
right. All right, and congratulations to Ryan. I don't know if Ryan's still on here, and I cannot pronounce his last name because I forgot how to. Charquette, Shockett, Shoke, Sheik, Shakel, Shocky. Ryan CH. Congratulations. He got the book or got the skirt, and at a I think it's a really good price. considering how rare these
Yeah.
are, and this one is as they put on there, it's very clean.
Surprisingly didn't go as high as I thought it would have. I was thinking closer to 1,000, honestly. So, oh my, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's being serious or not, so I'm not
No, yeah,
gonna
they're
say it's
messing, yeah.
Canadians. Yeah, blame Canada. Um, but yeah, I really Heroes is coming up and other reasons, but I really wanted to bid on this one too, but I didn't, so I had to force myself not to. So
Well, we know they still have, or no, they did they give? I can't remember. They didn't give the other ones away, right? Or
not. I
this
mean,
is
if
the
they have,
first
I don't
one
know.
of
So
the 9 extras I think they have, or 10 extras.
yeah, I started watching the second season of Miracle Workers and on Hulu, I think. And I
Mm.
didn't realize they only put the first 3 episodes up, so I don't know how it ends, but
Oh,
I was
that's a
I was
bummer.
enjoying what I saw. Yeah, they did that with a couple other shows that I was watching,
Yeah,
and they tricked me on them. So, but yeah, I will finish that one day.
that one's on my list.
Yeah, on your list. Yeah, so maybe next week we'll just talk about your list.
Yeah, goodness.
Other reasons. Seth caught that. I'm glad he caught that. So, uh, he does. It's just not. He usually the last time he used it was whenever they did the for the hurricane. I
Yes, the
can't remember
relief. Yeah.
the relief for that one. So, but this one was used and to sell the statue. And the person that bought it, I was hoping Ryan would still be on here because I was going to ask him if he's going to get it signed or not. But he's not on here anymore. We'll see whenever he gets it in hand.
I wonder if they
Congrat!
give him the option to get it signed before they ship
I
it
had
out.
asked. Well, I'd actually asked that on the Facebook page when they
Mm.
posted it, and they replied saying they were going to give an option. If you read like the last line of the eBay description, it
Okay.
said that the buyer has the option of adding the signature to it. So yeah, even in an image that we saw on the group today, there was one of the bows had snapped off on Gert's head. There's so many fragile parts to that statue that it's to be only 300 produced. It's a pretty rare one to get fully
Yeah.
intact. Oh, he is. Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
Very nice.
But as we burn through these slides, as it gets closer to the bewitching hour, congratulations to Stupid Fresh Mess for hitting 25,000
Big congrats.
subscribers. And that image of Skottie, I don't know who did that. If Megan forced Skottie to do that himself,
Yeah.
or yeah, or she did it, or John, or whoever did that there, that cracked me up whenever I saw
Yeah.
that image.
Twice now we've gotten Beautiful Mind
Mm-hmm.
references. So it definitely seems like
It's the
a
gift that keeps
favorite
giving.
of theirs. So
That's right. And Skottie put such a heartfelt post on there just to the community as a whole for the love that we not only have for Skottie and his art, but also for Megan and John,
yes.
who it's just like it's just one big family of collectors and friends, and it's something that's unique because so many other groups and so many other collectors, uh, people are focusing are cutthroat and everybody's kind of doing it for themselves and uh, the fact that the Stupid Fresh Mess community has embraced Skottie and his full team and looks forward to seeing them all at cons. When
Well, the
Marine
fact,
was on,
yeah. Oh,
when
sorry. Go
Marine
ahead.
was on here, no, I was just gonna say real quick. When Marine was on here, she was so excited to not just see Skottie, but to see Megan and Skeff was with him at the time, and she kept calling him not John until
Yeah, I forgot.
John
Yeah.
got because John's wife had her own booth there at Planet. So it's a very a lot of love for the Stupid Fresh Mess company as a whole.
Well, and I was just gonna say because they embrace everyone as well, and that's what makes them so different from other people you'll buy from. Is that again just little notes I've gotten from them, or the one time an order went wrong and they were super nice about replacing it and stuff. Again, they're so interactive, which is just so far in between. Nowadays, especially when you buy stuff from people, there's the separation of the internet, and it's easy to be able to just like, all right, cool, thanks for dropping a couple grand on the art piece or something, whatever. But it's never felt that way with Skottie Young and Stupid Fresh Mess, and so much of that is Skottie, but also so much of that is Megan and John and the care they
Yeah,
put into their own respective jobs of packaging or making sure people feel included, or just whatever it is. And and again, that stuff to me is what goes around comes around, and it's a full cycle kind of a deal where they give it, we receive it, we give it back, and it just kind of keeps cycling like that. And I'm super appreciative of it, and I know most everyone else is, and again, it's what keeps me, coming back. Not just Skottie's awesome art, but again, Megan. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing Megan again, just as much
Yeah.
as Skottie. Now, this will now be my second time seeing Megan in person.
Yeah, I legitimately believe if Skottie lost all talent to write and draw, we would still buy his books just so we could hang out with Megan and John.
yeah,
So I think because they're that cool. I mean, it's as you see as you go through other artist lines, there's
yeah,
tons of great artists out there that are real friendly. I'm not naysaying anybody, but there
yeah.
are some that treat you more like a consumer, and it's like so long and thanks for all the fish as you get pushed through the line.
Hmm.
But with I believe with the Stupid Fresh Mess, they get excited to see people that they know by, and to hang out with them. You were personally recruited by Megan to go to Heroes last year.
I was,
She
yeah.
was yeah, she was joking that Seth is now being
I know, yeah.
personally
Now it's
recruited by
Seth's
the
turn, exactly, and I
so
was
so
glad. Yeah, they were excited. I did want to say though that going back to Skottie losing his artistic abilities, are you inferring that he went through some sort of Space Jam scenario where he touched a
yes,
basketball and his talent was,
Monstars.
yeah, Monstars,
Stars.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Whenever we hold up a pen to him, Scotty, you sign with my pen.
Why is it glowing? No reason.
Yep. And all
I
of a
do
sudden,
joke, that is my reference I use. I'm like, I see another artist and I'm like, man, I really wish I could just Space Jam their talent. And that's what I mean by that. I just wish I could grab their talent through a basketball. So
all right. Will's wanting to see the hat one more time. Since we get through at the end of the show, we'll blow Tyler up as he says goodbye so he can see the
yeah,
hat
I can,
one
yeah,
more
blow it
time.
up there.
So we'll save it. We'll save it. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me here. Come on. But this is the awesome thing that happened today that was
Yes.
added to the slideshow. Megan was awarded the and I can't read. I mean, I can read obviously, but I can't read what that says. It's way too far
Uh,
away. Can you read
the
the inscription for
Megan
me?
Hodges, Stupid Fresh Mess, 25,000 subscribers.
Yeah. So congratulations, Megan, on that trophy. That awesome trophy. I'm sure you will display it with pride. But it's well
Yes.
deserved. If you read the introduction, I mean not the newsletter about how they approach the 25,000 members, their subscribers to their newsletter, and how it was grown from being a dormant newsletter to being a very active between Skottie and Megan writing it, and how it went from being a handful of people, hundreds of people, to 25,000 is
Yeah.
pretty impressive. So kudos to Megan, kudos to Skottie, kudos to
And
John, kudos to the whole team.
shout
Great
out
job.
to her love of everything Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
caught it in a previous post when she had a hot. It was a Ghostbusters uniform, but had Hodges written on it as a coffee mug, and I was like, "That's so
Oh, that's
cool." And she was like,
cool.
I was
Yeah.
hoping somebody would catch that, and that's immediately
I
what my
missed it.
mind went to was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the oh goodness, I'm forgetting the exact name of the device,
I
the
want to say
reader.
Slayers. I want
It's
to say
like the
PK or something.
yeah, peak,
I'm
yeah.
I'm not as big of Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters as a kid, but
Oh goodness.
I'm not. I don't collect a lot of Ghostbuster stuff, so
Well,
I don't know the
you had it
names
better than,
really.
yeah, the PKE meter. You had it
Oh man,
before I did. But yeah, I just loved, yeah, just like seeing that like next to the trophy there. So very fitting for Megan's area.
all right. And Scotty had also posted this. I think this. I can't remember which newsletter this came out in. Everything's starting to bleed together. Real quick, let's stop for a moment. Yeah, Ryan, Megan puts an M in MVP.
Very true.
The goat Megan. I just wanted to give props to her
No,
for
yeah,
those
I
call
love the
outs.
call outs. Yeah.
Yeah, and granted, we're going to hit 2 hours here in about a minute and a half, so we might as well milk it for what it's worth. But this is if anybody's listened to podcast of Scotty as they did before that Megan had recommended last year or so ago, he talked a little bit about his failure to launch his on. Yep.
Oh, the battery.
Yeah, I'm losing power, Scotty. Um, this is some of his. Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Okay, cool. So this was some of the and I never had seen these. I don't know if I'd seen some of the ones on the left. I think he had the bottom
Those were
left.
in, yeah, I think some of the sketchbooks, the daily sketchbooks, I think.
But if you sign up for Scotty's newsletter, act now. Supplies are limited. You can see all 20 pages, and some of them are fairly similar to the Bully Wars #1 ending there, but it's really cool to see how Skottie's take on it and what Conley eventually did with it. And we did a recap of a review of issue 1,
We did,
and
yeah.
then speaking of Lost and Game of Thrones and threads that got dropped, we'll have to go back and do #2 eventually. So
Yeah, we
so
will, yeah.
this was cool to check out.
No, it was a really cool addition.
My daughter's birthday is on May 1st. I have a feeling we may be on here till her birthday. So this is we're getting closer to that time. You're to Eastern time, so
There you go.
we talked about this one already, so we can buzz.
Yes, yeah, I had misplaced, yeah,
Oh, who's that handsome
yeah, who
fellow
is
there?
this? Yeah, lovable dork.
Yeah, I think
This
that's
is
Britain.
Yeah, this is a good friend of mine, or a good friend, my best friend, Britton. He has started doing YouTube videos and has put together. We've been playing Marvel Rivals, the new online game for those who maybe know it. Very much kind of like Overwatch, but with Marvel. And they're introducing a lot of cool character skins for certain characters. So, for instance, Sue Storm, her Malice variation, which I didn't really know much about until I watched Britton's video, which you can find on YouTube. He did an incredible job of putting together a really
Very well
entertaining
done.
video with really cool visuals to really help you understand, where the character started, where it came from, and the influences, and also, the differences between the comic variation and the game counterpart, mainly in like the skin and how it looks. But yeah, you can find them at Britton Draws. Definitely go find that, or you can look at the video here, Lore and Design, Marvel Rivals, Malice. It's a series he's planning to continue with. I won't give away who he's doing next, but it's another fun character, and I'm looking forward to it. So,
Yep. Oh, and Tyler, I think Tyler had shared the link to it with me, and I watched it thinking it would be produced kind of like mine and Tyler's videos are produced, and I was wrong. His production value is a lot higher than what mine and Tyler's are, and he does a really good job. Forgive my crummy. Make sure to like and subscribe Britton's video. I could have put more detail on that. I don't even know what that means. I guess like and subscribe his channel, but
yeah, yeah,
excellent. He supports us. He's on here about every week and supports us. I wanted to make sure and give him a shout out, even though I think he's left the show. He's not watching us anymore, so you'll have to let him know we
exactly. I'll
promoted
have
him a
to.
little
Yeah,
bit.
we went over just a little bit, than we normally do. So,
Yeah. My wife just texted me, "Are you almost done?" So I know it's getting late.
well,
All
we're
right,
almost done there.
all right. Last but not least, Heroes 2025 potential fan meetup. We've got a list of about 4 of us going to meet there at Buffalo Wild Wings there in Charlotte. A few more have said they may be coming, so we're really just going to meet there about 7:30 outside and try to make it in and see if we have to sit up there on the patio and just hang out and talk for a little bit, but just talk Skottie in person. So that's all we got.
Exactly.
And I think we're done. And before we real quick before we're done, before Tyler signs off and blows up, I will say last week we had 64 views on our show, which was incredible for a little show like us that me
Yeah.
and Tyler do this for fun. So I wanted to. I know we goof off a lot and say, yeah, this is silly and whatnot, but I know everybody's time's valuable, and thank each and every one of you for tuning in, whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes or 2 hours, whatever the time may be. It is very much appreciated, and we always welcome you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, the
That's
fact that
all
we
I
have
got.
6 people is quite surprising. Yeah,
Yeah,
again, for y'all to stick around extra long like this. So, and like we've talked about too, it makes it more fun for us. Kind of like, with Stupid Fresh Mess, the engagement, I'm sure, makes their job more fun. This makes our Wednesday nights more fun. Not only just Dustin
absolutely.
and I chatting and talking, but all of us getting to chat together. So,
All right. And with that said, I've got 3% so on my phone. So if you
yeah,
want
I'll blow it quick, but yeah, you can find these on the store. They're just the patch. I've just got it taped on right now, currently with some painter's tape. But these new patches they've dropped, you can still get them along with their hats they just restocked. But yeah, they're iron on patches. They're very cool. But yeah, thank y'all for coming on the show. I guess I'll sign us out because I know Dustin's running low on battery there. But
Yeah.
Y'all stay fresh, live messy, and we'll catch you back next week.
Howdy.